Yes, good morning. No. So used to saying that. That's incorrect. We started with a lie. Happy afternoon, good afternoon, whatever the word is before afternoon. How are we doing? I hope that everybody is well. It is a very miserable day here in South London. I don't know what it's like wherever you lot are. And yes, first of all, big shout out to Perchy and Susie for running the watch along last night. I dipped in for about 60 seconds of the show. I dipped in. And I love the whole goggle box style. So it was really enjoyed it. Thank you very much to those two. And yeah, I was at an awards do last night and I got my phone in on the table, right, with the alerts. I couldn't play a game. That would have just been too rude, wouldn't it? An awards do to have Spurs in playing in front. So I had the alerts and it was just goal. I was like, what is going on here? And loads of people were messaging me last night going, did you see this player, that player? He's and I just said the same thing to everyone last night. I've not seen it. I need to watch it in the morning. And then I'll be able to go live a bit later than normal. And yeah, I woke up this morning. I've watched the game back in its entirety, and we're going to talk about it. I feel like, as usual, the fan base go one way or the other. Like it's either massively shit or it's amazing. I thought it was. First of all, before we talk about Spurs, I mean that goal by Vitinha. By the way, and we will talk about this later. If we want to talk about golfing class, look at the two midfields we've played against in the last 4 days. Zubimendi and Rice, and then Vitinha, Neves and Ruiz. And that for me is when I sit as a fan and go, oh, bloody hell, we're miles away. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But great goal from Vitinha, who truly in the last 2 years has really become a top class player. I mean, was it? I don't know if it was Frank. Somebody last night said that they think he will win the next Ballon d'Or. I mean, he's class. He's absolutely class. And listen, we're not going to sign a Vitinha. We need to find a Vitinha before they get to the Vitinha level, if that makes sense. But I really think if Spurs are going to really kick on and progress over the next 2-3 years, we've got to sort the midfield out. And we'll talk about it. I think we've got midfielders that are strong with their running. I think they work hard, they press, but it's the lack of ball quality for me, which I've talked about every day for years. I still have not changed my mind on this. And that's not whoever the manager is, that is a massive concern for me. But we'll talk about that a bit later. Lubo will be joining me a bit later. Sean might be, I don't know. I've chucked the link to Danny Kiriakou, I don't know if he's available, but if anyone would like to join, then they are more than welcome. If anyone, any YouTubers are watching this, then just hit me up. It's tough, right? It's tough because on the face of it, we look and we go, God, we got a tanking from Arsenal, and then obviously we concede 5 to PSG, and look. We're going to get deep dive into it. I mean, look, the excuses side of it is, look, we played the 2 best teams in Europe. However, it's not good, is it? You don't want to concede that volume of goals at any time. But there were definitely some really good positives from last night. There were some negatives. There were some positives. And I'll try and be as balanced as I can as we look at as we look back at the game. We look at some of the players and the goals and the performances and stuff. Look, I think that when I saw the lineup, again, people messaging me immediately, right? Immediately going, oh my God, he wants to get the sack with that lineup. And I'm like, whoa, hang on. Yeah, are we noticing whatever lineup this man picks, people have a problem with? So everyone was like, we need to see Sarr and Gray and Bergvall. So he plays them on. Oh, no, he's going to get the sack. We want to see 2 up front. So he does it yesterday. Oh, no. So I think I take those comments with a bit of a pinch of salt. I would say this. From watching the game back, I would say that, and watching all the other games this season, I would say that this is a squad where we're playing like a squad that doesn't have an identity because we've not bought an identity. And this is years and years of different managers, different players, but we've not bought for a particular style. We've not bought ball playing midfielders to have a possession based style of football. We've not bought, I don't think, really for counter-attacking football in terms of quick, incisive forwards that, you know, the days of Kane and Son and Bale and Lennon and that type of player. I think we bought a mishmash of footballers where I think at the moment what we are seeing is Thomas Frank is trying different things, trying to see what works, what partnerships work, where can he get the best out of a player, what are the positives that he can get out of this 11. And for that, fine. I mean, like you know, we've all said we want a manager that tries things, but some of us stick to it. We want a manager that tries things. When he tries things, fine. Learn what works, learn what doesn't, move on. Problem is, a lot of people, when he tries things, go, oh, I can't believe he did this. But surely we want him to try these things so that we know, right? Look, I think it's a tough one, right? You're going to PSG. I think most people would acknowledge you're going to lose the game. We were in it for a very long time, but my overall feelings on the game are that we battled hard. I thought we gave a good account of ourselves from a battling, shape, attitude type performance. But that, as I said yesterday, I was having this chat with Danny yesterday, all of this gets stuck in and just work out. I think it takes you so far. The problem is cream rises to the top. And what I was watching yesterday is as the game went on, you could see it. The PSG were just growing more and more in terms of absolutely stamping their authority and their quality on the game. And that's not a bad thing because they've got better players than us. They have got a quality squad. Now, we are also in a position where you're playing twice a week. Now, I don't think that the squad is cut out for twice a week, especially not if you're going to be playing Arsenal and PSG in 1 week. So I thought from that point of view, I thought we did well, but still worrying signs and still a lot to work on. And I know, I think I can see a lot of you that are very sensible football fans. I see the likes of Anthony Clark and Mark Taylor and Paul Langley. And I see loads of you, by the way, there's loads of you. And I think my overall feeling hasn't changed since the summer. My overall feeling is that this is going to take a long, long time. A long time to sort out. This is going to be undoing years of poor transfer windows, undoing years of different managers with different philosophies and then being left with a mismatch. And I think yesterday the game kind of encapsulated that for me. I looked at that game and I thought, yeah, I like some bits we did. And then I looked at the game and it was like, oh, okay, that still concerns me. I looked at the game and thought to myself that, again, I see a lot of players are being overpraised, some being underpraised. For example, I thought Archie Gray did well. In the first, I thought he did well, but nothing to write home about. I thought Bergvall, for me, again, loses too much possession. His attitude and his work rate, spot on. Brilliant for someone of that age. But ability on the ball for me, a lovely little flick for the goal. But in general play, just a lot of headless chicken about it when I watch him play. It's not work rate, it's not effort, it's not attitude. All of those things, he's tick, tick, tick. For me, not good enough to be in the 11 week in, week out. Can press, can work hard. But again, I guess it depends on what level you want to be. If we want to be a team that are just figuring things out on mid-table, then fine. You want to be a team that really kick on, and we want to catch Chelsea and City and Arsenal and Liverpool and all these clubs, then you need better. But on the whole, I thought Bergvall did some nice things, but a lot of careless possession, poor passing. It is what it is. Papa Sarr, another one, an athlete, not a technical footballer, an athlete for me. Gets about the pitch, works hard, can press. And it's almost like what I'm saying about Bergvall, but again, a lot of needless possession lost. Passing, it was okay yesterday, but in general, not a passer of the football. He's okay with a 5-yard passing, but in terms of, is he? And this isn't just Saab, by the way, this is all of our midfielders. I'll talk about Bentancur in a minute. Is there enough about them to control a game, dictate? And then when you look at the caliber of other midfields, you go, "Oh, we're miles off." But I thought they gave a good account of themselves. I thought they worked hard, and I don't think that they are capable of a lot more at the moment. Now, it doesn't mean they won't learn, they won't grow. When people talk about ceilings, I never really go, "Oh, he's got a high ceiling." No one knows what a player's ceiling is, really. We all pretend we do, but every young player that every club has always gets talked about. "Oh my God, this ceiling." We'll see. Bentancur, for me, obviously adopted a bit more of the deep line role yesterday, put out a lot of fires. But again, on the ball, not good enough. Possession lost, sloppy passing. And that's all of them. That's all 4 of them, with a lot of possession lost and a lot of hard work, a lot of endeavour. But if I look at those 4 midfielders that played, I don't know why I'm doing that. I don't know what that is. What's that midfield? I'm probably talking about the midfield area, right? If I look at those 4 midfielders that played, Gray, Sarr, Bentancur, and Bergvall, I just think I look at it and go, it is what it is. This is what we've got. It is what it is. I don't expect to control games. I don't expect to dictate the tempo. I expect work rate, which is what you get. I expect good attitude, hard work, good endeavour, but it is what it is. Then you go to the 2 forwards who played last night. I actually thought, fair play to him, it's not a player I rate at all, but I actually thought that was Richie's best game for me. He was dropping deeper. He was linking up play a lot better than he normally does. He was working hard. He was pressing. And yeah, I mean, one thing I can never say about Richarlison is he doesn't work hard. I can't say that. He does work hard. But again, it's all about those levels. So look at the 4 midfielders I've just talked about. Now add Richie in. Now that's 5 of your outfield. I haven't even talked about the defence or Mawani yet. And I'm looking and going, yeah, they're okay. They're decent footballers. Not one of those 5 for me. You go, yeah, that's Champions League quality. And look, I feel that they did well to a point, right? Like they did well to a point. I'm seeing a lot of people going, "Oh my God, we're amazing," and oh my God, that's more like it. And look, there was good, there was bad, there was ugly, and unfortunately, there was a lot of errors. Again, I thought Romero had another really poor game. I'm really worried about Romero. I think he was awful against Arsenal. I thought he was awful against Man United. I thought he was really poor yesterday. And it's, I don't know. Do you know what? It's baffling. When I look at Christian Romero, he gets so many plaudits. But for me, there's something fundamentally missing from Romero's game. And it's not ability. And that's, I think, this is where I just can't quite get to it. I hear all the time he's better than Saliba and Gabriel. He's not. I'm telling you right now, he is nowhere near the levels of Saliba and Gabriel. He is on his day, and I always think when you have to talk about, when you use the sentence "on his day," it tells you a story, right? When when we talk about, and for years people have talked about De Bruyne and Salah and Haaland and Rodri and we don't use the words "on their day" they're good. We just go, God, they're good players, aren't they? Good class players. With Romero, for me, it just feels like it's when he can be bothered. like quite sloppy. Like everyone talks about, oh, isn't he the best passing centre back in the league? And I'm like, well, sometimes, yes. Sometimes, other times, really slow passing slows the game down, really poor passing. But for me, it's the concentration. And as I said, it's not ability. And that's the really difficult thing. Sometimes you look at a player and go, they've just not got the ability to the level we want. That's what I look at when I look at Brennan Johnson. It's not that I'm going, oh, Brennan Johnson's a wonderful player that just doesn't perform. I just don't think he's got that level of ability. Romero has got that level of ability, but how often do we see that performance that we saw yesterday? As I said, that's 3 really bad games in a row for me. Yes, he's a World Cup winner. Yeah, I know people are always chatting. Yes, he's a World Cup winner and a Copa America winner. Sure. But not on his own, right? He wouldn't be a World Cup winner without that man, would he? So really interesting one for me. Really, really interesting one for me with Romero. Van der Ven, I thought was okay last night. I didn't think it was one of his better games, Van der Ven. He was okay. I thought Jed Spence was good to a point. I thought Jed Spence showed a lot of endeavour to get forward, to get to the byline, which he hasn't been doing as much. But I thought he actually gave a decent account of himself. Obviously, when you're up against Bradley Bacola and Kvaratskhelia, it's going to be a long 90 minutes. But I think this is it. Mark, absolutely. Mark, I hear all the time, and welcome to you, my friend. I hear this all the time. They go, oh, Romero and Van der Ven are like Toby and Jan. I'm like, no, no. Toby and Jan were Rolls Royces for me. Just Rolls Royces of footballers. How often did you watch Toby or Jan and go, I'm going to critique them? I thought they were excellent, consistent, excellent. Both very good footballers. The partnership they built was fantastic. And I think the problem is we're trying to put Romero and Van der Ven on that pedestal. I think the defense is decent when on form. I don't look at it and go, oh my God, it's rock solid. I don't think our fullbacks are rock solid. But again, I didn't think it was. It's strange because we conceded 5 goals, but I look at two of the goals very much on Sarr, the Romero handball, and then a couple of thunderbolts. And look, I mean, you can't do anything about the Vitinha goal. I mean, the Vitinha goal was amazing. Penalty. Could Romero? I mean, look, I don't like the penalty rule anyway. I feel like defenders now, if you're going to ground, your arms are going to be out. But hey, that's a conversation for a different day. But still poor to give the penalty away when I think we just got it to 4-3, and you're thinking, oh, could you snatch a point and then you give the penalty away, and it's and that 5-3 buffer just kind of took it away from Spurs, didn't it? So a lot of, you're right, Ryan, a lot of individual errors that cost us. I thought PSG did what PSG do. They keep the ball, they move it nicely. That midfield 3 of Ruiz, Vitinha, and Neves is top draw, isn't it? Like top draw. And they grew. You saw it in the first half, right? I thought for the first 15, 20, I thought PSG were trying to size up Spurs. Like, what are they? What are Spurs going to come to Paris and do? But then after that, you could see as the half went on, like before Richie got his goal, we'll talk about the goals in a minute. They just started to create some chances. They just started to drive through the center of the pitch. Again, I would have expected that because the midfield's not good enough. And their class shone. And they're the best team in Europe, right? Like they're the European champions. And And yeah, the cream rose to the top. As I said, look, there's no drama on last night for me. I didn't think there was anything disastrous that Spurs did. I didn't think there was anything amazing. But again, I think there's too many individual errors because there's not enough good players. And when you look at, if you actually go and look at SofaScore and have a look at the number of misplaced passes, especially with the midfielders, it's just no one in there that can pass like properly. I mean, properly. When people go, oh, he passed 5, I mean, properly. Archie Gray did some nice bits, but lost possession a lot of times, especially in the opposition half. But I thought he did okay. I thought he did well. I know when Lubo comes on, he's going to be telling us how he was amazing. I thought he was okay. I desperately think we've got to get a ball playing midfielder. And I'm so sorry that you have to hear this from me all the time. Desperately think that we need that ball playing midfielder. Somebody that starts every game and is our controller, is our conductor. I don't know, Locatelli, Edison, Wharton. Some people talk about Barella. I can't see us getting Barella. Sean mentioned a really good player earlier. I don't think we'd get him, but he mentioned another really good footballer in Calhanoglu. We need somebody of this ilk, right? I just think we need somebody of this ilk. And Daryl, how you doing, Daryl? I hope you're well. I agree. And I've always said you're going to get a lot of individual errors when you don't buy quality. Arsenal have a lot less individual errors than Tottenham do. Chelsea do. Right? City, because they buy quality. Quality players don't make the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm not belittling our players. I'm just saying that's the level we've bought. So that's the level I kind of see. Yeah, this is another good player. Another good player, Jason. Yao Gomez is another one who is super comfortable on the ball. Super comfortable on the football. And being super comfortable on the ball isn't necessarily something you grow into. Kind of you grow up playing a certain way, right? Like if you look, I'll take it to the extreme, but if you look at the Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets three for Barcelona, they all grew up playing that way, wanting the ball. And I used to work with a coach at Charlton who always said, make the ball your friend. Yeah? Make the ball your friend. Treat the ball like your friend. Don't keep giving it away. Don't give your friendship away. Keep the ball. And I don't think we've got no one that can pass the ball like that. And I'm looking forward to that. And I'm really hoping. Now, whether that's in January, I don't think it will be. Hopefully we can get through to the summer and get that type of player. That type of player takes the pressure off the team. We haven't got one midfielder that's capable of that. We haven't. We haven't got one midfielder that's capable of that. As I said, people will praise individual performances from yesterday's midfield, but when you actually go and break it down, the number of misplaced passes, the number of possession lost is huge. And until we sort that out, I feel like we're going to keep being that team. We were last year, the year before, the year before, the year before. We were that team under Jose and Conte. The last time we were a really good team with the ball was Poch, because he built that midfield capable of doing that. And I know people think it's excuses. It's not excuses. I think we can all see that. I think we can all. Surely there is not a single Spurs fan that doesn't acknowledge we need a new midfield. Surely there is no one out there that thinks that the midfield options we've got. But again, he's not. We keep saying he is, but if you actually look at his game last night, the rate that he lost possession of the ball was a lot. So again, people don't want to look into it. I thought he was decent. I thought he did well, but I don't. None of our players are that player right now. I've never been a fan of when people say, trust me. Sure, but I need to see it. It can't be trust when you've not seen it. If you've not seen it and I've not seen it, no one can say, trust me. Now, a player like, big up to my man. How you doing, Paul? Hope you're well. When you're looking at a player like Locatelli, I'm just using him as an example. I'm not saying that's the one Frank wants. We've all seen how bloody good on the ball Locatelli is. Right? We've all seen it. It's not, trust me, he's good on the ball. It's there. The data tells you it's there. Your eyes tell you it's there. Mate, listen, just one more, mate. I really can't be bothered. I really can't bother with this today. You keep doing this. So do Arsenal fans come here because Savva massages your ego? Or is it some kind of comics to try and show that you're much better than Spurs? We're baby go. Listen, this is a football channel. Anyone's welcome here, Earl. At the moment, you're the one that shouldn't be welcome, all right? Just chill out. Just talk football. Everyone else is managing to talk football. Loads of Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, Liverpool, City, United, they've always come in here because I allow everybody. Yeah? I allow everybody. Sure, but, and again, this is the problem, Matt. If you want to look, I said he did well, right? He did well, but no more, no less. He gave the ball away a lot, didn't complete a lot of passes, lost possession a lot. Now, that's fine because he's young. That's fine. But I'm talking about we need 2-3 levels above a Gray, above a Bergvall, above a Sarr. And one thing I've never understood, right? One thing I've never understood is why is it when you ask for better footballers, why do fans get so against it? Like, I don't see Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, City fans mocking it. When they, we need better. We need better. When we do it, we just want to praise what we've got. And I think you've got to ask yourself the question, before I bring Lubo, I think you've got to ask yourself the question, what do we want to be? And is asking for better players a bad thing? If it is a bad thing, then we may as well have kept Levy. If it is a bad thing, then we should never complain about transfer windows. And I did just see one comment. I just want to, I feel like we need to, let's be sensible in the chat, please, people. We're saying a championship manager like Maresca is doing wonders at Chelsea. I mean, Lubo, good afternoon. Hope you enjoyed your trip back from Paris.
Yeah, super trip. I had a really good trip. Thanks.
Yeah, listen, it's Paris. You didn't go to New Zealand, mate. You went on a Eurostar.
No, we had a good trip. It was a good trip. And I got to tell you, cracking game. Super game.
Yeah, I watched it. I woke up this morning early and watched the whole thing.
The atmosphere there was brilliant. The ultras behind the other goal didn't stop singing the whole game. Mm-hmm. It was a super atmosphere. It was a good game of football, and I think we gave a good account of ourselves against European champions. We finished 17th last season. I keep saying this.
No, absolutely. As I said, my overall opinion on the game, Lubo, is there was some good stuff, there was some bad stuff, and as I've said, Lubo, I said this during the summer, I said it last season, I say it all through this season. There's not going to be individual games that change my mind as to what needs to happen at this football club, right? This isn't a game by game, everything's great, everything's shit. There are lots of positives at the club and there are lots of negatives at the club that will take time to change. Oh, for sure. Just quickly before we go, the person who said there about look at what Maresca's doing at Chelsea. I mean, there's a big difference between what Chelsea go and buy and what Tottenham Hotspur go and buy. Can we just a little bit of perspective on that front, please? That Maresca, first of all, this is his second season with Chelsea, if I'm not wrong. And he's got players like Caicedo, Fernandes, Reece James, Cole Palmer, João Pedro, Esteval, Neto. Like, he's got a lot of very good footballers. So let's not do the comparison thing. Lubo, let me start by asking you this. I got a lot of texts last night, right? Just before the game started. Obviously, I wasn't able to watch it. And loads of people were saying, get Frank out, hate this team. Is he trying to get himself the sack? And Lubo, I just wonder what it is that people actually want, because we've all asked for him to try different things. In the last 2 games, he certainly has tried different formations, different players. Are we just getting to the stage now where the guy is berated for whatever he does? Are we at that stage?
I mean, I had this yesterday as well, and I basically sent the text rounds, and I said the following. Number one, this is a free hit. Any 11 we pick, any 11 selected, I think will lose. Because at the end of the day, they have a much better team than us. Secondly, after Chelsea and Arsenal, the performances, fringe players deserve a chance. And thirdly, I think that based on Frank realising that he does have to get a win on Saturday, I think that's absolutely crucial.
Agreed.
You know, we lost yesterday. We expected to lose. If Spurs go and win them the last 3 games, they're in the top 8, I reckon. And I don't think that is beyond. Dortmund's going to be a tough game at home. Frankfurt are fading away. They got smacked by Atalanta last night at home 3-0. Slavia Prague, we should be able to beat. So last night wasn't a terminal result.
No.
What's more important this Saturday, and the third thing I just want to say is, just coming back to this, is that I think he also picked I think the importance of Saturday influenced his team selection.
I agree. And that falls into Lubo, doesn't it? The fact that we're playing every 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
So because people messaging me going, oh my God, no Xavi, no Kudus. And I'm like, well, no Paulinho. And I'm like, well, hang on, guys. If he had played them last night and then wasn't able to put them out against
Fulham
by the way, Fulham is 48 hours away? No.
Nearly. 55 hours. 54,
right.
55 hours, yeah.
Right. So I would expect all 3 of those will go straight back into the lineup at home against Fulham. But I think that this is something that's being lost in translation a little bit, Lubo, is that the every 3 or 4 days and against, I mean, look, we've played Arsenal and PSG in 4 days. I mean, it's a tough ask, but I think that I've said this the whole time, and sorry for stuttering about a little bit. Don't know why. I think this is a manager that is desperately trying to work out what his best 11 is, which players he can trust, who he can't. He said this after the Arsenal game, didn't he? He said, I need to know who wants to fight for it. I need to know who wants to play. And I think yesterday, I think he got it right. I mean, it's PSG. I think he got it right. I think we looked better. We battled hard. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't shocking. I thought a lot of individual errors cost us. But in the main, I don't think what was the feeling in the stands from the Spurs fans in Paris?
They're playing for the badge.
Right. So he hasn't lost the dressing room like they all said?
No, not at all. Not at all. They came out and they played. They worked hard. They got beaten by a better team. Some of the football, I'd love Spurs to play football like PSG.
Oh.
Some of the touches. I mean, there was one situation, I think, in the first half where they were flicking the ball up and over, and there was nearly a through ball that went into our box. That was just, it was like keepy uppy. It was just superb. It was just fabulous watching it. And they stepped it up. They scored 3 in 12 minutes, which I think were more down to defensive errors rather than anything else. But they went up a gear when they needed to. Whenever we scored, they came straight back at us. And that's the sign of champions. And I think we gave a really good account of ourselves. I said I jumped onto Sean's watch along before the game, and he said, "What do you want from today?" I said, "I just want them to play for the badge. I want them to give a good account of themselves, and whatever the result is, the result is." And they did. 5-3. It's a lot better. You look at that. If we'd have gone down 2-0 and they'd have scored a goal in each half, and we hadn't even threatened, and we'd have just been defending, then for me that would have been a lot worse than losing by 2 goals in this way. So for me to go to PSG, not many teams are going to score 3 goals. But yeah, you look at the errors for the goals. I mean, the first goal he took, he's cut across the ball's coming across him, and he's hit the ball. I mean, it's a sort of top corner. It was a phenomenal goal, but no one's closing him down. He's got a free shot.
Yeah,
same
great
thing
finish though.
Super finish, but and the second goal, again, instead of his right foot, his left foot, terrific, fabulous play. I mean, he was the difference between the two teams, ultimately.
How much would you love a ball playing midfielder?
Can you imagine him?
Midfield. Oh,
Can you imagine? Can you imagine him with Archie and one or two others in midfield?
We'll get to Archie. We'll get to Archie. Don't you worry. I mean that midfield I said earlier, Lubo. That midfield of Vitinha, Neves, and Ruiz.
Yeah.
I mean, you stick that middle three in most clubs, and it elevates them.
No,
I mean, imagine that was our midfield three.
I must say so. I thought we acquitted ourselves against them in the first half very, very well.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, first half, we came off at half time. I sent you a text. I wasn't expecting any sort of results, even at half time. But they play well. They play well, and they took the game to PSG. It wasn't a case of just getting the ball, defending, and smashing it up pitch like the debacle on Sunday. They actually got the ball. They were moving up. There were runs coming off. I thought the two guys up front played very well together. Bergvall and Gray, there were some nice passages of play first half. It was much, much better. Listen, there was a low bar from Sunday, a shockingly low bar. So it wasn't hard to be better than Sunday, but they played well. And again, we're playing top opposition. For me, the best three teams in Europe at the moment are Arsenal, Bayern Munich, and PSG.
It's almost worrying how good Arsenal are at the moment.
Unfortunately,
if we're going to be brutally honest, I saw the
it is
score
early days. It is early. No,
of course,
if they play like this in February, March, then yes,
of course. But it is worrying, isn't it? They're sweeping all beside them. But as I said, I mean, we've gone from Sunday. I'm watching Zubimendi and Rice completely dictate the game. Last night I'm watching Ruiz, Neves, and Vitinha, and then I'm looking at the young crop we've put together, and I'm going, we need some experience. We need some experienced talent for them to learn from. We've got to go and buy, but we won't go into that now. But we've got to go and buy some better midfielders for some of them to learn off. Let me ask you about the forward line, because he went with the two. And I'm going to say this. I don't rate him as a player, Lubo. I don't rate Richie, but I thought it was his best game I've seen in a Spurs shirt. I thought he actually, first of all, he worked really hard. Second of all, he was holding the ball up better than I've seen him hold it up for a while. Yeah. And I thought he did well. I thought he did really well. And listen, credit where it's due. If I don't rate a player, I still don't rate him, but I thought he gave a really good account of himself.
Well, he's got, I think that's 6 goals and 2 assists now this season.
He's got 3 and 3, right?
Sorry, he's got So
3 and 3. So
in terms of GA stats, currently he's doing it. And you can't drop him. It's going to be an interesting team selection Saturday with the players he's got. He's got Kudus and Simmons to bring back in. It's going to be interesting what he does. So we'll see.
It's an interesting one. He was good, and I think the difficult. I saw when I was watching it back today. It was who was it in the studio? It was Joe Hart and someone. Who was guys? Someone had told me it was Joe Hart,
Peter Crouch,
and Peter Crouch. And Joe Hart said, look, this is the problem. I thought he nailed it on the head. He said, this is the problem for Spurs with Richarlison being the target man, is you don't know how you can play each week because you don't know which Richarlison you're going to get. So if you're going to get last night's Richarlison, play it into him and he holds it up, brilliant, right? The problem is there's a lot of times where you play it into Richarlison and it's like a trampoline, isn't it? And
sure.
and that's what Joe Hart said, and I actually really agreed with him. But I actually thought him and Mawani did well yesterday. And I think Mawani yesterday, I think that was the game where he just showed that little bit of quality.
That little. But in fact, both goals, to be fair, the ball came back at him off the bar very quickly, and players were closing down. Yeah. And he hooked it in. It was a good goal.
Yeah.
I mean, the second goal was superb.
Yeah. I mean, the second goal was brilliant footwork. I mean, that's what you're not going to see from a Solanke or a Richie. But that was very, very good footwork.
That's the sort of goal we used to seeing Kane score, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. What we need to see now for me is, I need to see Kambawani grab another, it was nearly words, grab another brace against Fulham, start getting the ball going. And I've got no problem with those two both starting. I guess it just all depends, because against better teams, against teams that aren't PSG and Arsenal, for example, like at home against Fulham, you'd say, right, okay, you want to go 2 up top. Okay, cool. But then what does that mean for Simmons and Kudus? Because what I don't want to lose is I don't like when Kudus comes inside, I think we really lose his width and his pace and his ability to take you up the pitch. But then what does that mean? Does Simmons just sit on the bench again? And what do you reckon?
What 4 would I play on? The 4 I would play on Saturday would be from right to left. I would play Kudus on the right. I'd play Gray with Polinia, and I would play Simmons on the left. And play Udogie behind Simmons with Udogie.
Sorry, Gray and Paulinho as the 2.
In the 2.
Kudus.
I'd stay with 4-4-2, because in fact the funny thing was he actually played a diamond, didn't he, yesterday?
Yeah, you had the 4 centre mids, didn't you?
Yeah. You could see the diamond. He had Gray on the left, and he had Sarr on the right. Would he stick the same way? Would he play Kudus on the right? I don't know. Simmons up top. Simmons at the top.
Kudus, Simmons, Gray, Paulinho. Hang on, I'll tell you. Let's bring it up. Let's bring it up. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because there's, as I've said, I don't think that there is I've said this all season. Again, hopefully people know I'm not just saying this in hindsight. I don't think there's an out-and-out best 11 at Tottenham. And I think that is half the problem. So I think a lot of this is trying. So we're going more of a traditional 4-4-2?
Yeah, well, he played the 4 as a diamond, didn't he, yesterday? So rather than playing it as a flat 4, which say Harry did when he had Parker and Modric in the middle and Bale and Lennon either side. So essentially that. Now we can fiddle about with, obviously he'll go in there. These two will float in here and he'll be there. But essentially we're going with this sort of thing, because again, Mawani and Richie, one of the good things about Mawani and Richarlison is they both will float out wide. They both will go down the channels to get the ball. So something like that against Fulham? I think so. Do you know what? I don't see any reason why this team can't beat Fulham handsomely. I really don't.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on this game, Lubo, because I think
massive.
If we're all going to be, and again, listen, when all the hysteria dies down, when all the amateur dramatics calm down in group WhatsApp groups and chat rooms, let's be fair. No one would have probably expected a single point out of Arsenal and PSG.
Yeah.
However, Fulham at home, you've got a. Oh, Romero is out, isn't he? Yeah, Romero can't play, can he? So it'll be Kevin Danson.
Yeah.
And do you know what? When Romero doesn't play, I actually think Van de Ven steps up. I actually think he steps up. So let's change that quickly. So it'll be Danso here, right? Because I don't think the others are back yet. So, yeah. So those 2 games, Lubo, I think anybody, if I'd said to you, you're going to go to sleep and wake up in 10 days and we've taken nothing from Arsenal and PSG, you'd probably say, yeah, I get that. However, Fulham at home this is now a different kettle of fish, and there's a different expectation, and fans are going to want to see 15, 20 shots at goal. They're going to want to see us attacking and pressing and yada, yada.
I think the way I look at it is that you look at, and all fans are different. A lot of fans are looking at games and they're judging it on a game by game basis. For me, you can't do that, because you've got your set number of players. Hi, Alex. You got your set of players from beginning of September to the end of December. Then you got your January where you buy players in, and then you've got your next chunk of the season. So you sort of look at games. You sort of look at games in blocks, and you think to yourself, right, where are we in terms of Frank's taken over the team? Where are we as a team? How many players are we actually lacking in the squad, in the first team? I mean, for me, at the moment, we're short of an 8, 9, 10 and 11.
Yep.
Basically, we have been.
Agreed.
We're short of cover for...
And a 3.
We got... with not so much a 3, but I think we were short of cover for a 3. We're short of cover for Mickey, Polinia and Kudus at the moment. So at the moment, for me, we're 8 players short, because if any of those 4 drop out, then it's an issue. And I prefer Udogie on the left rather than Spence. Although Spence, I thought, had a decent game yesterday.
I thought Spence did well. I thought he did well. You know what Spence did do yesterday for me? I think he was getting to the byline on the outside more than he normally does. Normally he drives inside. But last night I felt he was definitely going on the outside. It's interesting, isn't it? Because the Udogie Spence question every game, isn't it? There's a who's going to play left back, and he clearly likes Jed Spence. Yeah,
listen, for me, they're 2 very able players.
And very different players as well.
Very different.
Very different skill sets.
Udogie's better going forward. He is a more of natural wing back. Spence is a natural defender. I think the only disadvantage with Spence on the left is he's got to cut in on his right foot every time, instead of taking the ball down the outside. That slows the whole thing up, gives the opposition a chance to tuck in and defend and get back into shape. But where was I? We were talking about Udogie and Spence. In terms of blocks of games, you're looking at where the team are at that time, for that period of time in between transfer windows, where Frank is. If you're looking at it in a year's time, then you would be expecting to have several very good players, a real upgrade on the squad and the first team. So you're going to be looking at an expectancy of better results in blocks of games. For me, I look at these 6 games. Arsenal and PSG, you don't expect anything. We're just not there. We're not going to be there. For me, with Sunday, the lack of heart and determination and effort. Arsenal covered 112 kilometres and our players covered 103.
Yeah.
It's nearly 10%. That's not on. That's not on.
I agree.
And then, but in 2 years' time, I expect Spurs to be going to Arsenal and being much more competitive, and going there with a genuine opportunity, maybe not of winning, but of getting a draw if Arsenal carry on the upward trajectory that they're on. And if they win the league, that will lift their confidence and their self-belief as a club onto a different level. So they're going to be a bloody thorn in our side for a while at the moment, and we are coming back off 10 bad transfer windows, and we're looking at. I was listening to the start of your show, and you were spot on what you said about, and this has been the problem with all the managers for the last God knows how long, Savva, is that different managers play different styles, fancy different players, so you've got a mishmash of players from different managers, from different coaches, and Frank's coming in, and you're asking him. I mean, a lot of them have come in literally in the last 4 years. So it's a mix of Conte, not so much Nuno, Jose, Conte, Ange, and now Frank. So you got four managers who are all different, who've all got different styles, all like different types of players, and this is what Frank's having to deal with as well. So until he gets his players in, the way Arteta has got his players in over the last 6 years, and I looked at the program, Sunday's program, of the 26 players in that squad listed on the back of the program, Arteta inherited 3 only. He's actually brought 23 of those 26.
Saka, Martinelli, and was it Saliba who was bought but then chucked out on loan? Yeah. No, you're right. And listen, let me bring Alex in just before I bring you in. Welcome, Alex. I think Perchie made a really good point the other day, Lubo. I would say don't tell him I said this, but he's probably watching and he'll clip this or whatever. But he said, wouldn't it be nice to get to the stage where we see a manager that in a few years' time we go, right, this is their 11. Like this is his 11 now. Now, I'm not saying that means Van der Ven has to leave or anything like that, but do you know what I mean? Like, we want to see this is his 11 now that he's had 3, 4, 5, 6 windows to put together, and we go, all right, what have you created in that time? But I mean, Alex, you asked for the link. Here you are. How you doing?
I'm all right. I've only got 5 minutes, 8 minutes at tops. The point. Listen, I'm not going to go into the whole thing with Frank in, Frank out and stuff, because I think that's just redundant in perspective. Let's just say that. On yesterday's game, I don't think Tottenham were going to actually. There's no winners really out of that game yesterday, because we're always going to lose the game because of the quality of PSG. I think the quality kind of shown. Me watching the game back and stuff. Whether people agree with it or not, and I think I can gauge from what I've seen and how I've been feeling the last how many games, being at the stadium and everything else. I don't enjoy what we're watching at the moment. It just doesn't grip me whatsoever. That's again not a slight at the manager. It's just what it is, what my eyes are watching at the moment. I don't agree with
back at that, Alex. Just quickly, can I ask you a question?
Can I just finish up what I was just saying? Lubo, on the point on Adoji being the better left back, I'm sorry.
Wing back,
whatever you want to call him. I'm sorry if you're going to talk about a wing back that can't do better in the final third, messes up in the final third the last 3 years, and this is what if you go back and watch him the last 3 years, and I don't care about the manager it was previously, go and watch him. I'm sorry, he's not the best left back. He's not the best left back. I'm sorry, he's got to improve massively. I'm sorry. Yeah, I actually do agree with what Savva says about Archie Gray and Birdbow. It's too many moments. I need consistency, bro. I can't do this whole. I'm just this guy that needs consistency in my life. If I don't see something consistency, someone telling me just to be positive about it and try and look at the positive side of it doesn't make a blind bit of difference to me. If I'm watching it and it's still not getting me, I can't get invested. I can't get invested in people like question, Richie. Yeah, go on.
Alex, off the back of what you said. Now, by the way, I don't necessarily disagree with a lot of what you said. I think I agree. I think Destiny Udogie has got. I think he's got all the tool set to do it, but I don't think we see it. Right? I think he's the perfect height, shape, speed, strength. You know, he's got a nice left foot, but for me, he doesn't quite connect the dots. But you can see he's got something there. And I think the injuries haven't helped with that. We haven't really ever seen a 10-game stretch from Destiny Udogie where you go, yeah, he's brilliant. But I want to ask you, I agree. Listen, I don't think there's any Spurs fan really that you'd go, oh my God, I really enjoy watching us. But can I just ask just you, and then I'll ask the same question to Lubo. When was the last time you watched Spurs, not in a one-off game, but in a period of time and went, you know what? I really enjoy this style. I'll be interested to see if everybody's got the same answer.
You know the answer to this because
is this Poch's team, right?
Pochettino, Harry Redknapp, Pochettino, even
Lubo?
You can go back to Villas-Boas.
I differ from you two.
Okay.
I think the last 3 months of Conte's first season, I thought some of the football was superb. We smoked Leeds for 4,
so
Everton for 5,
the transition,
for 5.
Counter-attacking.
Oh, I thought that it was, and we finished up the second highest goal scorers in the league that year behind Man City. I think those last 3 months, I thought we were terrific. Kane and Son were flying. Son shared the golden boot with Salah. I think some of the football then was absolutely superb, and that was what 22, 23, I think. Poch finished in 19.
Would it be fair to say, Lubo?
Conte was, or was it 21, 22? It might have been 21, 22.
Is it fair to say? Yeah. I didn't enjoy the football. It wasn't like I went, oh, I love this style, but it was super effective and we were very good at what we did. I tend to agree with Alex on this, and this was my point, Alex, is when you come on shows and go, I'm not liking what I'm seeing, and look, the style of football I like. If you ask me what I want to watch week in, week out, I want to watch what Pep Guardiola did with the famous Barcelona team, right? But I'm also aware we don't have the players to do that. But is this a case in point, Alex, as to Lubo mentioned it there. I mean, in such a short space of time, we've had 6 managers. You've had you've had Ange, Nuno, Conte, Jose, Poch, now Frank. Don't we need to stick and build something like we did with Redknapp for 4 years?
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Years? Don't we need to do that in order for us to go, right, this is what the manager's created?
But I'm being sensible here. That's what I'm saying.
No, I know you are. I know you are. I'm just asking.
What I'm saying is that whether he stays next season, right, we'll wait and see, right? Because he will get the season. If he's in the top 10, in my opinion, he will stay, right? But the only thing I think the doubt is at the moment is and I don't want to go into the ownership because that's not football. Yeah. I don't care. It's only whether the owners, the people upstairs were really the ones that really backed him or got him in the first place, right? If they really want to back him and stick with him, we'll see that next season because there'll be managers.
Wasn't it? It was Lang and
Vinay. But my point is though, there'll be top managers available at the end of the season after the World Cup. So then we'll really see if the fan base actually turn on him, whether they will still, they'll still be on.
You're talking about Pochettino.
No, not just talk about Pochettino because I'm not too sure whether that's even going to work anyway. I'm talking about Thomas Tuchel as well. You know what I mean? Because he'll finish off at England as well. So listen, I think we need to see time with the manager. I just don't want to keep on saying it every single 5 minutes and that's it. And I think then we can see whether it's going to take fruition. But it's just at the moment, it's just not gripping me, Savva. It's just not gripping me. And I can't lie to you because
I don't think it's gripping anyone, Alex.
Because whenever I'm just dozing off and I'm missing certain moments, I have to go back and watch the moments again sometimes because I'm missing it sometimes. The difference is with PSG, I can watch them quite easily, you know what I mean? Because like you see some of the players, like the player that scored the goal, I can't remember his name, and then you see and then the goal, the third goal, I think it was the mistake, and I forgot his name now. It's just escaped me, and he scored from a mistake from
was it Neves who scored? Was Neves? Did Neves get the third?
Yeah, I think it was Neves. The way that he had the composure to score that goal, we've got nobody like that. We've got absolutely nobody like that.
Oh.
And
Alex, Moani last night, he's capable of scoring a goal like that.
Yeah, but Moani, I think the problem is because Johnny did something badly last night. He's like saying, well, look, he proved his point. I'm like, Moani should have done that from the very, very start. I'm sorry because he's on loan. He's on loan.
Alex, he had trained. Alex, he done nothing.
Yeah, but
nothing for
Lubo, I can't hear that. But Lubo, I don't want to hear the excuse because the thing is though, whether he was not fit or not, we should not got him in the first place. This should have been done. We should have had Moani like this from the very beginning, from his loan. Right? If he was not on loan, that's a different argument. But because he's on loan, sorry, that should have been from the very beginning.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's difficult because it was so last minute. Yeah, it was a calculated risk from Spurs to take a player that wasn't fit and ready to go, and then obviously we had the whole dead leg scenario. Then we've had the whole his jaw scenario, but. I said earlier in the show, Alex, and I don't know if you agree with me. Look, I like Moani. I don't go overboard about him. I like him. I've seen some really good things he's done throughout his career. Also some patches where he doesn't do a lot. But from a positive standpoint, he's now off the mark for Spurs with 2 goals against, his parent club, right? 2 goals against one of the best teams in the world. And for me, what we need to see is what we've got to stop doing. I make you right, Alex. What we've got to stop doing is seeing a performance and then going, oh my God, isn't so-and-so great? What I want to see is string that together. String 3, 4, 5 games together where you go, God, in the last 5 games, look how good he's got 4 goals. He's got 2. That's what I think we need to see. And football fans, Alex, we're all very reactionary. So player scores a goal who hasn't scored a goal for 10 games and we'll go, there you go, look how good he is. You all laughed at him. You're in the mud. No. Let's see. Same with Gray. Give Gray a game at the weekend. Yeah. Let's see. It's a very different game against Fulham than it is against PSG. Because against PSG, we don't have the football. He's not expected to do much. Against Fulham at home, now we're in a different environment where it's, you've got the ball. Now
you've got to take initiative. You've got to take initiative.
Exactly.
That's the
and
point.
That's why I don't lose my mind, Alex, over players. Some fans, you watch how they change their mind on players game by game. And I always say, put a run together. Show me that I've been wildly wrong about X, Y, Z as a player. Show me.
Last point before I have to go, because I have to go, right? But if you base some of the players that we've got on the previous players that we said were not good enough, like some of the people that I've heard today, a couple of streams saying, "Oh, we need youth players coming through," right? We had youth players in Harry Winks and Oliver Skip. Look what's happened to them now. They're in the Championship, playing in lower division in Leicester City right now. You know what I mean? Yeah, we need players that are better, much better, right, to compete. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry, we can't be overhyping players that were not even better than the players that we let go of, like Bergwijn and all these other players that we said that were absolutely rubbish in that era, that we were relying on Harry Kane and Son. You know what I mean? So this is that's where I'm at the moment. You see what I'm saying? But I'm
all right with one coming through, Alex. Like right now, for me, let's use Lubo's boy Gray. If Gray was the young midfielder that we wanted to persevere with, I'm comfortable if Gray is the young midfielder we want to persevere with. The problem, I've always said this, and Lubo, Alex, I've said this. My problem is that we went and bought 3 or 4 of these young players to try and deal with at once. Right now, if Tottenham had anything about them right now, we'd have a proper top quality midfielder, and then someone like an Archie Gray would be getting his minutes as and when learning from those top midfielders. But what we've done, we've left ourselves to a point where against the champions of Europe, we've had to go with 2 teenagers in the midfield. That should not, the big clubs don't do that, right? No, Newcastle haven't had to do that, right? Liverpool don't do that. City, Chelsea, Arsenal, they don't do that. So for me,
that's a macro problem, isn't it?
Of course it is. Of course, that's the bigger. That's the
big picture.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's all I've got to say anyway. But I'll speak to you lot guys later anyway. Take care.
No worries, man. Thanks for coming, Alex. See you, mate. Take care. Yeah, you're right, Lubo. That is the. Micro macro is always a good conversation because I think that you and I are aligned with this. You might tell me I'm wrong now. Like I said,
listen, we disagree on the kids because I think that if you are in any business, if you're investing a lot of money in one area of that business, then you've got to see results. And our academy players have not come through the way they should have come through since Harry Kane. Winks and Skip were okay. Winks was unlucky. I think did he get a stomach injury? I think he was. Winks was coming through very well. Funny enough, he was our best player in Madrid in the final.
Yes, he was.
But never went on from there.
Winks was one of those ones, though, that he is. I don't know if you heard me say it earlier in the show, Lubo. He is another on his day player. Because I remember when we played Real Madrid and beat Real Madrid, right? Do you remember that game?
No, I'll tell you the game I'm thinking of was at the Bernabeu in 2017 in a group stage game where we drew 1-1, Kane scored with a header, and Winks played Modric off the park.
No,
he was absolutely brilliant. Is that the game you're talking about?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. God, when the years all kind of mash into one. Yeah. But it was things like that. There were games like that where you went, cool, Winks can play.
Yeah.
But then there were too many 6, 7, 8 games in a row where you go, is Winks playing? And this is the difference to me. And this is where you and I agree, Lubo. This is where you and I agree. When people say, why can't the players do what they do? Like when we beat Man City, why can't we just do that every week? Well, top players are capable of doing it week in, week out. Average players can raise their game
like Darren Davis,
but every now and then.
Yeah, that's why now the way I look at it with yes, we need a Modric Dembele type player to put in the midfield. But if you're going to, now's the time you give Gray a run. Right now, and you alternate. I've seen comments. You can't play Pelini and Bentancur together. You play one or the other. I will put Gray next to him now. Let's give him a run. I think he'll do well. I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong. But you've got to, if you spend 40 million on a player, whether you think it's worth it or not, and it's the same as anything, people buy houses that are way more expensive than what they're worth. Life isn't always perfect. Sometimes you'll spend 5 million on Dele Alli, 15 on Modric, and look what you got. You've underpaid for that, so it swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, of course it is. But football fans in general, Lubo, and this is where we agree on the micro and macro thing. Fans, when we vent our anger, all football fans, in the moment, we're all looking at the micro problem, right? But if anyone actually took a step back, going, I don't like what I'm not Alex, but I don't like what I'm seeing, and why hasn't Frank coached this player better, and why doesn't he know? This is a macro problem that I keep saying, Lubo. If and no one in my chat is saying this, but you can get rid of Frank now. But you know what? Whoever the next manager is, Joe Bloggs comes in. Do you know what?
Same problem.
He's inherited the exact same issues. And for me, what I would love, just for once, I would love for us to go, do you know what? Right. And unless anything disastrous happens. So if Frank, again, I can't one rule for one the other. If Frank this season finishes 17th, right? Yeah, sorry, mate. You've got that. That's crap. You've got to go. But this year for me was always about consolidating, right? Consolidating. Let Frank work out. Who do I like? Who do I not like? Who can I trust? Who can I not trust? And let's start seeing in January in the summer, let's start seeing 4, 5, 6, 7 of these lesser players leaving. And let's start seeing 4, 5, 6 higher quality players coming.
Yeah.
But when people are going, well, no, I think the job's too big for Frank. What job? Like what is the job that fans think should be happening right now this season that's too big for him? That's what I don't understand.
Well, I mean, I'm sure. I hope Alex is listening, because I've never talk behind people's backs. But Alex is commenting on what he sees on the micro. If he stops and thinks, well, I agree with him. The football's been a tough watch this season. I agree with him. But if he thinks on the macro level, why is it a tough watch? Why are we so short of quality players? Not just in the first 11, but in the overall squad. Injuries have also, a big fly in the ointment there in terms of getting continuity of teams. You just can't. They're not all long-term long-term injuries. Moana's missed 2 or 3 weeks, etc., etc. So you've got a situation where we can only put this right over the course of a couple of years. But I do think that if they go in big next summer and they buy 3 or 4 very good players for 200 million, 250 million, you can catch the other teams. You can bring that gap right down.
Anyone can if you can.
You've got to
spend right and spend right.
Teams come out of nowhere. 1 minute, Ranieri's doing okay with Chelsea, but just okay. And then all of a sudden, Jose's come into Chelsea 22 odd years ago. Bang, 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 spent big money on certain players, and they've gone and won the league. And that's where you can get to. And I'm not saying we're going to do that, because we've got a big gap to close. Yeah. But it can be done. It can be done with proper backing. And whoever, whatever manager you get, we've seen this for the last 25 years. Poch came closest in terms to the Holy Grail, the league and the Champions League. And Stroke, well, for me, I think it was the players that got us over the line in the end with the Europa League. And Ramos, in 2008, took advantage of having a strong 2 centre-back partnership in King and Woodgate that came together for the big games. He had Lennon then, and he had a quality centre forward in Berbatov.
And King.
Ben Keane, yeah.
Don't forget Robbie. He had
the picture. I've got this picture here. Hang on. Let me just show you. You know, you look at this, and there's, you look at the players there.
Mm.
And you had Zakora, you had Chimbonda, you had your journeyman in there, but you had real quality in King, Woodgate, and Berbatov and Keane. Why aren't you wearing your tux today?
I know. I'm going to wear it every day for the rest of my life now, my tux.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. And this is
apart from those few bit, it's like an oasis in a desert, and that's what it's been like. And we've got to have owners now who are going to be in for the long haul. I'm happy if Vivian and Charlie Lewis are going to back the managers and they're serious about it. I don't care if they're in for another 10, 15 years. If they're going to back the managers,
agreed.
And Vinay does his job, Charrington does his job on the admin side, and all of a sudden you've got a club that's structured well. British is doing his bits with established players. Lang's coming in. He's getting players. Whatever you think of Bergvall, I think good coaching will bring the final pieces of his jigsaw. Once he gets his passing together, I think he'll be one hell of a player.
That's the biggest thing for me with that boy. He can't pass a football.
It's
But without going to Bergvall, no, I think you're 100% right. And as I always say, welcome, Sean. As I always say, I don't whether it is Frank, whether it is Iriola, some people like Xavi Hernandez, some people like Terzic, whoever it is, you're right. The board now moving forward, whoever the manager is in situ, we need to now start looking at every signing needs to be of quality. Every signing now, if you want to catch the bigger clubs, it's got to be thought out, well planned. Not just, this player's become available, let's get them, but that they actually fit into what the football club's trying to do. And as I said to you, from what I saw last night and what I've seen this season I feel like we've got a collective of footballers, Lubo, that have been put together over a number of years for different managers, different directors of football, different styles. And what it leads is a mishmash of what are we? Do you know what I mean? Like, at least under Potts, we knew we were a possession, ball-playing football team because we built for that. Right now, I think Thomas Frank is tinkering and tweaking, but I don't think he knows what we are. We don't know what we are. I don't think he's got the set players to do any one real style of play other than pressing. So I think that there's green shoots. There's hope. The bigger picture is there's hope, but none of this means anything. We can row, we can fight, we can argue every single day, but it's all going to be about what do we do in the transfer windows. And if those transfer windows don't equate to quality, we're going to have this same conversation in 2030, 2035.
Well, this comes to point 2 of my 7-point manifesto. Long, mid, and short-term strategy in terms of recruitment.
Have you put it in a PowerPoint yet?
I haven't.
You're on mute, Sean. Sean, you're on mute. You're on mute. Have you put it on PowerPoint? I'd like to see it. Sean, are you? Oh, okay. He's not. I don't know what he's doing. No, you're on mute. Oh, we can now.
You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's an echo.
Sorry. I was there. Hang on. Oh, you know what? Let me try again. I'll just go to this. I'll go to this. Is that better?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Point 2 of your manifesto is to have a strategy for short term, mid term, and long term. In other words, water is wet.
We've never had that, John. We've never had that, mate. That's the problem. We've never had it. How can
Genius, Lubo. Genius. Let's always be thinking a little bit about the now, sometime about tomorrow, and a little bit of us focusing on the future. Absolutely genius, Lubo. Why didn't we think of that?
It's simple, though. And most things, when you look at life and how to get things done, they're simple. People complicate stuff. It's very,
wasn't point 3 on your manifesto, buy cheap, sell high. You should become a stockbroker, mate. You should become a stockbroker, bro. You know, you've got it nailed. The strategy is absolutely perfect.
I think
buy
about
things a little bit cheaper than you sell them, and you make money.
I think the pricing was 5 and 6. I think, Sean. I think it was 5 and 6. But hang on 1 second. When you look at how much money we've wasted on transfers, particularly in the last 2 years,
a lot.
You know, this is all true. Listen, I'm not a genius. These are basic. These are mistakes that have been made through the years, purely because he's been sidetracked by the financial side and the commercial side and doing deals. And he never had his eye on the football side. Now we've got people.
Are we talking about Sean's chairman again? Is that what? Are we talking about leaving? Sean's man. Are we talking about Sean's guy? Okay.
But it's going to listen.
We never had these troubles under Levy. These flip-floppy performances.
We didn't, because you know what, Sean, we weren't ambitious then. Now we are. Now we're ambitious. Now we want to be a proper football club. Now we can be a proper football club.
Yeah. So we'll see.
I'm still trying to work out the consensus. Go on, sorry, Sam. I'm still trying to figure out the consensus among the Levy outers, whether this window that we just had in the summer was Daniel Levy's window or someone else's window. Still trying to work out whether Thomas Frank is Levy's manager or Vinay's manager. Because every time we lose, apparently it's Levy's manager. Every time we win, apparently it's Vinay's guy. Agenda's got her agenda. Lubo.
I find this hilarious now. Now a lot of people are starting to talk about this narrative. Well, we're going to find out who hired him, aren't we? Well, didn't he say clearly in the interview that he spoke to Lang and Vinay? Like he clearly said
that's true, Savva. But also listen to the logic of that. We're going to find out who hired him. I.e., if he's a success, it was Vinay, and if he's a failure, it was Levy.
It was Levy. Yeah.
I will tell you guys now. It was Vinay that hired him. So success or failure is down to Vinay.
Who signed the players in the summer? Have we come to the conclusion of that one yet?
No.
Was Morgan Gibbs White
on the performance
or Vinay's or what?
Depends on the performance, mate. No, like obviously Morgan Gibbs White failed, therefore that was on Levy. Obviously Eze failed, that was on Levy. Xavi Simmons was on Vinay until it worked out that Xavi Simmons apparently is having a struggling start, and now it's on Levy. Kolo Muani last week was a Levy signing. This week he is very much a Vinay signing.
Sean, when you hear what Sean just came out with, now you know why at the start of last Thursday's show I said I'm with some big hitting Levy out heavyweight Branson type sugar level Levy outers in Sean, Billy T and Stell. I was in such big company, big time Levy outers there.
Do you know what I noticed? I don't know if any of you guys have noticed this. I feel like with a lot of the real staunch Levy haters, right? And let's call it right. It almost feels like everything was Levy's fault. Like, I didn't want Levy here, but everything was Levy's fault. In terms of every time we lost, it was the owners haven't bought. Now when we lose, it's the manager. Like, and I'm like, hang on. If Levy was here, 100%. We'd all be going. He's not bought the right players and this is why I probably defend Frank more than I should, because, well, first of all, he's only been here 4 months, but second of all, because I'm thinking, hang on.
He's a scapegoat.
He's now become the scapegoat that Levy was.
The only person that was more devastated that Daniel Levy got the hook than me was Thomas Frank, because he's gone, shit. Now everything's going to be on me.
Yeah. But do you see what I'm saying, Sean? Like, I'm seeing so many staunch Levy out people that their narrative was always no manager gets backed. No manager's been given the players. Now this year it's he's got to go, hasn't he? He's not done well. And hang on, your narrative for the last 4, 5, 6 managers has been that Daniel Levy didn't back them. And look, I think all is calm. But somebody's put a comment in the chat that I thought was quite interesting. How much does Arsenal's domination, and it is right now across Europe and the Premier League, they are dominating, right? How much is their rise putting pressure on us probably that wouldn't be there before. So are people becoming more impatient at Tottenham because we're right at the beginning of something and they're looking like they're about to win big? I'm not saying they will, but they're looking like they are going to win something big this year. Is that putting more emphasis on Spurs?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I genuinely don't think so. I think that, you talked about a pecking order, Sav, that was we weren't fifth or sixth in the pecking order before Enoch took over. We are now. So because of that, I don't think we are expected to compete with the top players, although we've got to start to do that. Otherwise, we're not going to lift ourselves up into their company. We're not going to be sitting at their table if we're always picking up the best players after those four are finished. So how do you ever, if they pick up the best players and then we pick up the next level, how are we ever going to catch them? We're not. So the biggest thing for me with these owners is to show intent. We've actually got to go out and we've got to start picking up players that the other clubs would want. So
is it that easy to do that?
It's going to be very difficult.
No, hang on, just quickly. The obvious example of that, which is right in front of us right now, is the Semenyo example, right? Yeah. Like, let's be fair. I've said this all the way along. If Spurs and Liverpool go in for Semenyo, I believe he's going to choose Liverpool. Most people would. But Spurs owners will then get the backlash of, they couldn't get it done. But there's a balance, isn't there, between can we compete with them? And then if we can't, how do you start to bridge that gap, right? It's an interesting one.
If they carry on going the way they're going.
Well, look, you look at all the shit Frank's under. Slotter's lost 9 of his last 12 games.
I saw the goals. I must tell you something. We talk about, Romero's made a rick. Like last night, Vicario should never have given him the ball. He should never have given Saul the ball. And Saul was he was half asleep, wasn't he?
I think it was a foul.
On Saul?
That was a foul. I watched it back. I've got a screenshot of it. Oh, I can't bring it up on your thing. I've got a screenshot of it because they never actually showed the replay. They showed the replay of the goal like 3 times, but they never actually did a close up of the tackle on Saul. Yeah. And the screenshot that I've got was from real time at the moment of impact. And it looks to me very much like Sarr is turned back towards goal and his one foot, both of his feet are essentially shielding the ball from the Paris player. And I can't get the screenshot of the actual point where he takes the ball off him, but he clatters into the back of Sarr. Mm. I believe that's a foul in real time. The fact that he didn't give it in real time maybe means it's difficult to overturn it unless it's an obvious error. But for me, I think that's a foul. I also think, as much as I know the rule is the rule, and you can't, I said this on the show last night. The rule around the penalty. It's almost like they expect defenders to slide in like they're on the luge in the Winter Olympics. Right. Like it's sliding in. It's unnatural. If it's supposed to be about a natural position, I don't know what a natural position is.
Sean, I've said this for ages. If you go and watch how defensive coaches teach kids when they're growing up, how they defend. So, for example, when players go to the byline and the fullback is defending, right? The defender is taught to be side on. You are taught to be side on to block the ball. Now, when you're side on, your arms, so I can't show you, your arms are naturally like that. Your arms don't go like that. And that's the same when, down the years, centre-half throw themselves at the ball. And as you go down to the ground, you have to have your arms in the air because it's natural. So I want to go back to, I know this is completely on a tangent. I feel like the handball rule should go back to, was it intentional or not? Because some of these handballs are just getting absolutely ridiculous.
You know what? It was deliberate, it was deliberate or accidental for over 100 years. I don't know why they changed it.
I don't mind if the referee comes to the conclusion that he's put in a world where the rule was about intentionality. I don't mind. Yeah, love that Spurs. That was he commented on my
he's going to WhatsApp me some abuse in a minute. You watch.
I don't mind if the rule is about intention and the referee comes to the conclusion that he's got his hand up and it's intentional. I don't mind if he comes to that conclusion. But if he gave the penalty because the rule says if your arm is in an unnatural position and your arm being up is deemed unnatural, to me, I think the rule is stupid. I'm not saying the ref made the wrong decision. I'm saying the ref made the right decision based on the rule, but the rule for me is is stupid.
Sean, IFAB are killing the game. I said this on the show a few weeks ago. Absolutely killing the game. They want to be the stars in the football world, and between Kalina and David Ellery and the rest of them, they are completely screwing up our game big time. But the point I was getting to was we were talking about Liverpool, weren't we? Funny, I mentioned, we talk about Romero with like what he did yesterday, and then you look. I mean, I saw the PSV goals. I mean, Van Dijk looked like he was 65 years old on one of those, the third or the fourth.
Konate.
Oh my God!
I think the third goal, Konate misreads the ball. Right, and it was so easy for the PSV Eindhoven player to just go to just.
That's Chris, isn't it?
Chris having a crack. Yeah.
Chris is very, very defensive of referees, but I bet you were pissed off yesterday, Chris, when he gave that penalty against Romero. I bet you were pissed off.
No, I think Chris was right because I said that in the tweet I put out, I put a gif of the luge, right, and I was like, the referees expect Romero to slide tackle like this, and Chris said, you can have a problem with the rule, but the referee just enforced the law, and that's fine. Like, if that's the law,
I think that's where we get frustrated, right?
Yeah, the law.
It's referees, but it's the head of the referees, it's the referees committee, Chris, who have made that stupid law. So really, these people have absolutely what they should do. They should go to somewhere like a Real Madrid or Barcelona or PSG, wherever, Arsenal. Go and spend a day with the coaches and learn what's natural and what isn't natural in terms of how you play, how you approach, how you tackle, how you shape up, how you defend. Let them go and see. Let them go and learn. And actually listen to people who understand it. A lot of these refs have never played football. And it's very easy just to be a pen pusher, and a box ticker. Think outside the box. Think outside the box.
I'm sure they've conducted all that stuff, but I think that the movement towards VAR, because they spent a fortune on the technology, and then it's like jobs for boys and all that stuff. I do feel like they then the kind of pendulum has swung so far. I'm sure they consult on all those things, but ultimately, like, they want to remove as much subjectivity out of the way as possible, so that the VAR can do a job that's based more on techno rather than thought processes. But I think that the victim of that is defenders generally.
I realised. What was his name? Was it Origi scored the second goal for Liverpool in Madrid? And I realised just how the game was screwed when you see back the highlights of that, a recording of that second goal, and Toby's got his arms behind his back. How do you bloody defend like with your arms behind your back? It's an absolute nonsense.
Natural. It's not natural. It's not at all. And there's so many defenders now where their first fault when they're one-on-one with a player is
Pedro
where
Porro.
are my hands?
Pedro Porro.
Rather than
can you imagine? Can you imagine if these referees switched across to athletics? By the way, Usain Bolt, when you run your 100 meters. You've got to run with your arms behind your back. I mean, seriously?
I think that would be a really good event.
That would be hilarious, yeah. Everyone's got their penguins. The Penguin Olympics.
This is
it would basically be the 100-meter penguin, wouldn't it? It would be the 100-meter penguin. That would be really
a model.
Like, have you seen it in the Olympics when they do the walking marathon? Have you guys seen the walking marathon?
Brilliant. It's so brilliant. Yeah.
Like when they're doing it, it's just like, this is weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, Lubo, I do agree with what you're saying. Look, at the end of the day, whatever we talk about, we can talk about tactics, we can talk about this, whatever manager, to catch up, quality is needed, and Spurs are going to have to find a way to sell to these players. I'll ask you this. What do you think? And again, the Semenyo one is the obvious one because it's like right upon us with his release clause, right? And it's 34 days until it opens. Here he is. Here he is. I'll put him up there with Lubo.
Here he is, David Ellery.
Actually, before we move on to that, then, Chris, would you like to say something back to these horrible, horrible men that talk about refs in such a bad way?
I've just got a question for Lubo because he criticises how these laws come into being. Can you just explain to us how new laws are made?
Oh, you've been called out, son.
Why are new laws made? I tell you why new laws are made.
No, not why. Not why. How does it come into being? What's the mechanics? Who proposes it? Who reviews it?
Chris, the mechanics are, and I'm telling you quite honestly, this is what I feel. These guys.
No, what you feel. No, what you feel. What are the facts of how a new law comes?
No emotions. We want facts, no emotions, mate.
I tell you why laws are changed when they shouldn't be changed.
I'm not interested in why. I'm interested in how.
These guys' egos are so massive, and they want to be the stars, and they want to be seen to be doing something. And it's like, we've got to change it.
Can we get back to the question?
Otherwise, what are we doing? Let's just change it for the sake of changing it. It's a nonsense.
Can we get back to the question then, Lubo? How does a new law come into being?
How does a new law come into being? Maybe because the referee's made a mistake once.
No, not maybe. How? What are the mechanics of putting a new law into the laws of the game? How does it get passed? How does it go from proposal to getting passed? You've already said it's all just the referees who don't know what they're doing, but I'm interested in you explaining to everybody how that happens.
Because all the egos sit together around the table and put their hands up when it's a vote. That's what.
Guys, is it just me here? I'm asking for a factual what are the mechanics, and Lubo answers every time with
hang on. Have you ever met Lubo? You know what? I spent 3 hours once. Trying to get an answer out of Lubo for something that just never ever came. I know Sean was in the same WhatsApp group. I was going, yeah, but what's the answer? Yeah, but just buy bet. Yeah, but what's the answer? Come on, Lubo, answer his question.
How do they get round? What, the referee? Well, it's IFAB, isn't it?
So who's on IFAB? How does that work?
Well, you've got all referees. You've got Kalina running it. You've got David Ellery running it. You've got a few others.
So who are the few others out of interest?
Go on, you tell me. Anybody that's actually played the game.
So, okay, I'll read out the technical committee for IFAB, right? Arsene Wenger, Gillian Ellis, who's a woman player.
Arsene Wenger. Oh, my God.
Are we just going to interrupt every single one, or are we going to let me go through?
Maniac. Go on.
Aya Mimama, you won't know her. Sunday Olise used to play for Nigeria. Esteban Cambiasso, Yuri Djorkaeff, a few others you won't know. Minamoto used to play for Japan. Daniel Amakachi, Paolo Wanchop, Neri Pompidou, who was international goalkeeper for Argentina. Luis Figo. These are the people you're saying haven't got a clue about the game, right?
Who makes the decisions, though, Chris?
So these are the committees that ultimately come to a decision, right, on whether the laws should be introduced or not. So they're part of the decision-making process.
They should know better.
After a number of years of trials in the actual game, right? And then based on the results of that from the individual competitions and the FAs where they take place, those technical committees then make a recommendation to the IFAB board, which are made up of the FAs of England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and FIFA. And they take a final vote. But it's based on the recommendations of all these people. You keep trolling out this line that people, to be fair to Lubo, everybody does this. Oh, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know the game. The people behind it are Luis Figo, people like that. And we're just going to trot out the line that, they don't know what they're doing. They're power mad. Okay.
Listen, I've got to tell you something. He may have been very good at football, but he's clueless when it comes to changing rules.
So they're all clueless. As long as the players are all clueless as well, Djorkaeff and Figo and Wenger, as long as they're all clueless along with the refs.
Let me ask you a question, Chris.
I'm happy with that then. I'm happy.
Chris, you saw the penalty last night. Do you think that's sensible? Do you think that rule is fit for purpose? Honestly.
I think it's a penalty in the laws. And by the way, in Europe, there's no way that's ever not being given. The penalties that are given in European competitions are different to.
No, I understand.
You can get into. I've no problem with the argument of the merits of the law as it's written. What I defend is the criticism of referees who are going out enforcing the laws of the game. I always used to say to my refs, "You're there to enforce the laws of the game as they're written, not what you think they should be." Right, and that's the truth of the matter. So he has to give a penalty for it. I'm totally open to this debate on what the handball law should be. But the problem with it is the reason why we got here. Yeah, it used to just be intent for sure, but the game wasn't happy with that because it requires the referee to be a mind reader. And when you do that, you have massive subjectivity and inconsistency between all the different referees because it's a complete intangible. Did he mean it or
Can
not?
I ask you a question, Chris?
Yeah, of course you can.
I completely get it that it's the refs that are enforcing the law that is as it is. I'm just going to ask your opinion. The handball rule.
Yeah.
I get that people would be annoyed before because it is, you're saying a ref needs to be a mind reader, but hasn't it got so silly now?
Yeah.
Like when a defender goes to make a tackle or sliding in like Romero is, he's not gone in to stop the ball. He's going down. And naturally, if I push you over in the street, you naturally put your hands out, right? You don't fall to the ground like this. So aren't we in danger now of everything being a penalty?
I understand the argument. I suppose a simplistic argument also is if your arm is up there and someone's shot and the shot's going in on goal, there's kind of an unfairness, right? And that being blocked by the arm. But the bigger issue is not the handball law necessarily. The same thing sort of happened to offside, which is that the game as a whole has got zero tolerance, not even for referee mistakes, for the referee has not given what I think they should give to my team. And because we don't accept if in the opinion of the referee, which is what the laws were based on before, the pressure in the game has now gone away from that. We can't accept that one referee will give it in one way. We don't accept that. So the only way around it is to make the subjective objective. And to do that, you have to start defining all kinds of nonsense like silhouettes and stuff like that. I don't really see any way around it because football as a whole does have zero time. It's impossible for a ref because even if they had let's say I think it's a perfect game in terms of what the laws say, there's no way the fans sit there and go, oh yeah, no, we accept all of those decisions because that's what the laws say. They're still up in arms. The coaches are still moaning. You see it with the Liverpool, with the offside, right? They had it's funny, really. They had that goal, the Robertson one against City, the offside where he ducked.
Yeah.
And then the opposite decision's given against them the next week, and they're all up in arms. I'm like, yeah, but hold on. Last week you were complaining about the decision. Now they've given it, but it's against your team now. So, and this is the world we live in. That's where I sort of give up in terms of having a sensible conversation.
Chris,
I just defend the referees when they're making the correct decision in law. If you hate the law, you hate the law. No issues.
First of all, I did say IFAB. I didn't say the referee last night. Although everybody around me was like cussing him like crazy because I think he was giving every decision PSG's way, pretty much every decision. But the point, where are we? Let me ask a question. Eze's first goal at the Emirates on Sunday, where there's three players in a line.
Yeah.
How does a ref not see it? And if he doesn't see it, because everything's happening in a split second, and those players are there at that moment that Eze shot, and by the time Vicario's dived and pushed the ball into his own net, those players have moved away. So that picture isn't still there on the pitch. Why does he not go to VAR?
That's not the process, is it? He doesn't. A referee has never ever gone to VAR. That's not how it works.
Okay, why haven't VAR got involved?
That's a fair question. Well, they will have reviewed it. I personally think the better decision.
They did review it.
Yeah, they review every goal.
And they left it. Why didn't they actually get involved and say, "Hang on, come across"? There's three right in line, right in front of Vicario, literally in a line. And he did nothing.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree that.
I don't. If you're going to have subjective views by someone in Stockley Park, you've got a fourth official on the side with a screen. Set up the technology so the fourth on the side is there. Don't need to go to Stockley Park. The fourth official does very little during a game.
Which goal are you talking about, Lubo, that was off? That you think was off, blinding?
Eze's first that he drove through.
Who's first? Sorry,
Eze's first, wasn't it?
Oh, that one.
The second goal.
Yeah. I thought you were going to make an argument for the one that happened from the corner kick last night. There was an argument for it there as well, but I thought you were saying three players. I was like, well, three of those players were Tottenham players, so they can't be offside. But there was definitely an argument that that one of those players, one of the PSG players, is in the way.
Right, but for me, it's there's no point having someone at Stockley Park. You've got a fourth official there using.
Yeah, but
set up the technology so he's got it on the side, and he can put it back quickly.
I'll part that and just come back to the actual Eze incident. So in my personal opinion, I think the preferable decision is offside there. But what's happened, and this is where, again, you can't win, is there's pressure in the game about these VAR decisions, right? And it is a subjective decision. And the guy on the pitch has decided, rightly or wrongly, we might think wrongly, other people might think rightly, that they weren't interfering. So there has been a whole issue with VAR about too involved, the games go on too long. So it's been really clear that they've said, where it's a subjective decision, we won't get involved. And that's actually what we've seen for all of these offsides in the previous weeks. They've all just gone with the on-field decision because they have said it's a subjective decision. The referee's made his call. If it's subjective, who am I to say that my different conclusion on a subjective decision is more important than the referee's decision? So they don't get involved. So they just
Chris, if a goal
guys, it wasn't offside. It wasn't offside. Angus is an Arsenal fan, and he's assured us, look, it's not offside. Yeah. So,
Chris, when a goalkeeper, when Vicario can't see Eze shoot because three players are, is that subjective? How can that be subjective? It's facts.
Well, I guess where it could be subjective. So I had the same argument as you for that Man City Liverpool one, because I think if you're in the way of a shot and you have to duck to get out of the way, how can you not be how can that in any way not potentially interfere with the goalkeeper to dive for it or not? So I think that should have been disallowed. There's no question in that.
I fully agree with you, totally.
But where we got to with that, the game as a whole didn't agree with that. The game as a whole said it should stand because Donnarumma's already committed to it, which I find meant I don't think you can have an offside decision that is predicated on whether the goalkeeper's already dived or not. No. I think that is ludicrous. Correct. But if you apply that to yesterday, to the Arsenal game, did it materially impact Vicario's chance of saving it? I don't think it did. I still think it should be offside. In my view, there's a fairly easy solution, which is wherever the ball is, if you drew a theoretical line to where the keeper is and then to where the ball goes in the net, so you've got a triangle now. If someone's offside in that triangle, it should just be offside, in my view. But
can we go back to the days? I liked it.
Chris, one question. Do you think think they're trying to sanitize what is, it's an imperfect game. Referees will give a decision. Some Spurs will win, some Spurs will lose. The referee will give a decision based on what he genuinely thinks has happened. Football is not like cricket or tennis, but they're trying to make it like football and tennis. They're trying to make it the perfect game, and this just kills. It's killing the game. You can't even go up unless you've got a shot like Richarlison's on Sunday. You can't.
I agree.
You can't go up and celebrate. It's just, and that's one of the biggest buzzes.
I mean, Richarlison always celebrates, doesn't he? Let's be honest. I agree, but with one difference. I agree with you. Where we disagree is why is this happening? And I don't think it's happening anything to do with the referees. It's the pressure from within the game. The referees never asked for VAR. It did not come from the referees. It came from the coaches and the managers and the pressure from the media and the spectators. It's them that is trying to sanitize it, as you put it. It's them that doesn't want any subjectivity, will not accept that a Brian Clough, as you will well remember, Lubo, would come out and say, well, that was how the referee saw it. We're not going to moan about it. We get on with it. The referee's got a difficult job. That never happens anymore. It's all about whinging, even in the most ridiculous cases where the people are obviously wrong. The Van Dijk handball last night, where he's moaning about it. Nothing happened to you, mate. You just handled the fucking ball. But even in the interviews afterwards, complaining about it, it was a foul.
Seriously.
Just man up a little bit.
Well, hang on, did you see the Villa game on Sunday? You see the Villa game where Emi Martinez jumps up, doesn't get the ball. The centre forwards heads it back across goal and leads score. Yeah. And then Martinez is going, I've been fouled. And then this is what pisses me off. VAR end up looking at it for like 4 minutes. And you're like, you can clearly see Emi Martinez wasn't. I think that's what frustrates me about all this. I get it, Chris, right? I agree with you. I didn't mind football when there were errors. When it was errors on the eye, you kind of knew that over a season they might kind of iron themselves out. You get some, you don't get others. Nowadays, I think Lubo is correct. We're trying to make it so perfect that every decision now is being looked at 100 different ways. And I don't know. I just think it slows football down for me. I want to go back to
Yeah,
I don't disagree, but the origins of that are the stakeholders in the game, and they're not the referee. They're the managers and the coaches and the media and the fans and the Premier League as a whole. So I'd totally agree with you about going back without VAR, except for the fact the game won't accept it, because you'd get handballs on the line that weren't given. You'd get someone punching someone in the face and the officials have missed it. You'd get someone diving clearly and it being given as a penalty. All of those things basically never happen anymore. So to a point, it's been a success. But Chris, we now move on to the arguing about the next thing, don't we? So
what they're saying is that before VAR, referees got 88% correct, and now it's 95%.
I never believe these figures. I think they're.
I've got to tell you something. If referees are getting at 88%, that's a bloody high percentage. You know,
they do, but most of them are dead easy decisions, aren't they?
No.
Let's. Can we move on from refs? I want to know, guys. What can Spurs do? We're talking about signing better footballers at this club, and we're talking about competing against the bigger clubs that will also want them. I'm going to use Semenyo. I'm going to start with Sean because he hasn't talked for ages.
He was agreeing with me. Silence is agreement in my book.
Yeah, I agree as well. Yeah. Spurs and Liverpool. Let's just say they're both going right now for Semenyo. What have we got to offer that they haven't? What will make him join Tottenham over Liverpool?
Guaranteed minutes. London.
Good night out in Liverpool.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. Not a lot. Not a lot, really. Maybe just the fact that Liverpool seem to be on their knees as well. The idea of playing at Liverpool used to be guarantee you're never going to win at Liverpool. Like PSV Eindhoven have beaten them. Forest beating them convincingly. I don't know. All that stuff's short term, though, isn't it? Like if you're Semenyo, you're going to choose Liverpool if they unless you just go and smash the wage structure, because Liverpool don't pay huge wages. They make it up traditionally. They make it up in other ways, in bonuses and things. But yeah, if you go and break the wage structure and give the guy 240 grand a week or something, 250 a week, whatever, then maybe. But like, yeah, I don't think so. I think if it's a case of just triggering the clause, but like I say, if he goes to Liverpool, so be it. Right? There's enough left wingers out there. that I'd be happy with. Even if Rodrigo goes to Arsenal and Semenyo goes to Liverpool, I'm okay with the idea of picking up one of the others. Sav, I'm sorry, mate. I've got to jump though, buddy.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Yeah, Chris, do you think that this is possible? I mean, all the reports are saying that Liverpool are the favourites to land him, but I'm still seeing Spurs fans saying, well, if Spurs don't get him, nothing's changed. But is that a bit harsh on the owners? Because we're talking about, as much as we can laugh at Liverpool in their moment, Chris, big clubs always manage to get big players. So, and they are the champions of England. So where are you at with this whole scenario?
I don't see how we can sign him. In fact, any club that's perceived to be bigger, stroke more successful than us comes in. You just got to put yourself in Semenyo's shoes, haven't you? Who would you rather join? Simple as that, really. So unless, I mean, Sean's right to a point. If we wanted to absolutely blow them out of the water, but you'd need to be doing it to the extent that Chelsea and Man City did it back in the day. So if the going rate for Semenyo, Liverpool come in and will pay him 250, 300 grand, we've got to pay him $500,000 a week, really. You know, you can't just go, if Liverpool offered 300 grand a week and we offered 305, he ain't joining Tottenham. You know, you've got to blow them out of the water, and we're never going to do that. So I just can't see it. I mean, he could still join us. It's possible, but only if he perceives us to be his best option. And I think that's going to be the window of opportunity for that was potentially the summer or the previous season. And that's where we are. We can't, in one sense, I've got a bit of sympathy for our recruitment team because of where we are. We can't wait for a player to smash it for 2 or 3 years in the Premier League and then go, all right, we'll go and have them, because other bigger and better teams will be in for them. We have to try and pick them up at a much earlier point, but then your risk of it not working out is much higher. So, but that is where we are.
Yeah, and I guess, Lubo, this is the difficulty, right? As much as we all go to the owners, just go and get much better players. It's difficult when you're up against other clubs. And Semenyo is the flavour of the month across fans, and not just Spurs, across other fan bases, everyone's looked at him now and gone, oh my God, this must be the player we'll get. It's going to be difficult, right? Because let's be fair, if you were, I know I'm going to ask this to the most biased Spurs fan I know, but Lubo, if you're a footballer and Liverpool or Spurs come in for you, it's different, right? You're looking at Liverpool going, they win leagues, they win Champions Leagues, they spend big.
I'm not the right person to ask that question.
No, but if you were in Semenyo's shoes, right, that's surely going to be something you look at, right?
Well, the other thing also is in terms of regular football.
Sure.
Where Liverpool are a much bigger club than us. The history is phenomenal. The 6 or 7, European Cups, etc. 20 leagues. They're on a different planet to us. So you can look at it that way. And if you're looking at it, listen, he's just looking at it from a professional point of view. These boys don't care about who they're supporting. 100%. Carragher, Robbie Fowler were both Everton fans. Ryan Giggs was a Man City fan. It doesn't mean anything. Defoe's Arsenal. So was Darren Bent. Bergkamp was Spurs. So in terms of that, then you think if it's Liverpool or Spurs, like Luis Diaz, Willian with Chelsea and Spurs, you're going to go to the bigger club.
So how do we bridge that gap then? Or is it being right place, right time when the bigger clubs don't want these players?
Yes, and you pick up and you get a player. You maybe swoop in, maybe you offer them the money. You come in, you close a deal very, very quickly. You get a small window of opportunity and you close it. And you just need one of those and you're away. And then that shows intent. And then other players see that and think, Jesus, Spurs are now one of the players. You just need that one.
You do need a recruitment team that are really shit hot, because I agree with Lubo, really. These top teams aren't going to be faultless. They're going to sign players who don't make it, and they're going to choose not to sign players who do turn out to be elite.
Sure.
And somehow we have to be the team that identifies the ones that they've decided not to buy, right?
That's right.
Very, very tough.
I was saying before, Chris, if you wait not because you want to wait, but because you have to wait, and you've been put because you're fifth in the pecking order, and the other 4 clubs are sweeping up all the best players, we're never going to make that jump up and compete with them. We're always going to be that team at the top of the next batch of clubs.
It's kind of like a draft system in a way, isn't it? The people they've got first pick, and then we come down and we've got to pick the best of the rest and hope that they outperform the guys that they chose before him. So.
Yeah, right. I just think it's going to be really tough. Like, we need quality. We do need quality, and I've just got a feeling that the Semenyo scenario is just going to be Eze all over again. And I think then fans will start to realise that, because I'm seeing a lot that I've got my own belief on this. I'm seeing a lot that, Eze was purely on Levy messing up. But let's be fair, the way Eze's talking, the way he waited, the way I think he was always going to Arsenal if a bid came into Arsenal.
He was. He was.
For me, I just want to know, what I want to see, guys, is we all know we want Semenyo, right? I want to know who are the next 2 or 3 in that list. I want to know that there's, okay, we want him, but let's play the game of he's probably a very low chance of coming. Is it Lookman? Is it Fofana? Whoever it is, I just want to know that plan is in place and that we don't wait until the last day of the window and panic.
So I'm sure it is. Perisic is there. They'll be looking at players all year round. So
I think the only learning point really from the Eze thing. So I agree. I don't think if Arsenal were going to come in, there was no way around it. So the only learning point really was to have done everything we could and set an earlier deadline and not hold out forevermore and wait. Because there must have been a point really where they're, as we know, they're obviously in touch with Arsenal going, well, are you going to put a bid in or not? So just go in, put the money down, as Danny would say, make him an offer and say, you've got till January the whatever, you accept it or you don't. And if you don't accept it, we have got to move on and not wait to be played by the player because he's hoping Liverpool come in.
Sure. I think I'm just looking at Tony's comment, as they used Spurs to leverage his wages at Arsenal. I don't think that's the case. I think Palace used Spurs to leverage the fee from Arsenal.
I agree.
I think that's what happened because they knew Eze wanted to go to Arsenal. So it's a question of Steve Parish maximising what money they were going to get for him, and he did well.
It was quite well publicised, wasn't it? That Arsenal had agreed personal terms with him weeks before.
Yeah. Spurs offered 55 plus 5, and Arsenal offered 60 plus 8. So.
But again, this all comes down to the understanding of how transfers work. I think people think that things like salary are negotiated at the very last minute. Salaries will be agreed roughly miles before. Do you know what I mean? There'll be, so if I'm trying to sign Semenyo, right, and I'm speaking, if I work for Spurs and I'm trying to sign Semenyo, I speak to his agent, what sort of salary is it? What's he on? Oh, he's on, he's on 100. Oh, brilliant. What does he want to move? 200. He wants 200. Can you guarantee me 200? I can do 200. That's not a problem. I go back and speak to Spurs. If we get to that stage, we can, right? I think a lot of people think it gets to the last day and then you're suddenly going, right, 195, no, 205. No, it doesn't quite work like that. But I just want to see a plan, guys. I'm going to wrap up in a minute anyway, but I just want to see a plan. I don't want us waiting until, like with the whole Morgan Gibbs White thing. If you didn't get him, where's the one behind him? Do you know what I mean? Who else are we speaking to? So, and that's the whole thing that pissed me off with Savio, right? We're in talks with Savio for 2-3 weeks. Will it happen? Won't it happen? And at the end of the day, it's, let's make a bid for Fofana on deadline day. And Fofana said, no, it's deadline day. Like, I've got what you're doing. So I just hope we have a plan. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, just quickly, predictions for Fulham before we go. Fulham at home. I hate these games, by the way. 8 p.m. on a Saturday night. I hate that. 8 p.m. Saturday night. Chris, give me a prediction.
Oh, God. Honestly, I don't know. Don't know. There's a whole brain and heart and head thing going on here. I really fear. I fear for what that atmosphere in that ground is going to be like if we. That's my dog just ruining things in the background. If you heard some noise. Right. That it's going to be if we play like we did against Chelsea United, it's going to be a horrible place to be. I really hope we don't. If we play a bit like we did last night, I think we'll win. We'll go 2-1. If we play like we did against United or Chelsea, we ain't winning that game, are we? And then it's going to be awful. But I'll try and be optimistic because we all know that I'm a really naturally optimistic guy. So I'll go with a 2-1 win.
Lubo?
I'm going 3-1 Spurs.
I'm going 3-1. Yeah,
I think they'll win well. I think they owe us a performance. They owe us a result. We haven't won at home since the 16th of August. I think it's long overdue. I think we will win, and I think we'll win comfortably. And I hope he makes the right team selection. I really do.
Yeah. Is there a right team selection by which you mean you hope he picks the players you want him to pick, right?
Yeah, this is what I mean.
Obviously, right. I don't want to pick the ones I don't want playing.
Yeah, but the problem is, Lubo, every time a lineup is selected, a portion of the fan base go, see, he doesn't know what he's doing, get rid of him. And you're like, well, hang on, you guys don't want this. You guys over here want this. You guys want that. Someone else wants this. And I think, as I've said to you loads of times, I think this is what happens when you don't buy enough quality players, is that we've all got an idea of which average player should start above another average player. Well, like right now, I don't really care who starts in the midfield because I think they're all bang average. Like right now, I genuinely don't care. They're all bang average. I genuinely don't care who starts on the left wing because they are all bang average. So for me, he's got to mix it up. People will say go with the same lineup as the other night, but what you do against PSG isn't what you're going to do against Fulham, right? You're going to. So sure. I don't know. What Rob says. You don't have a clear, strong 11. Completely agree with you, Rob. Completely agree with you, mate.
Well, I'd say we don't have a clear 11. Strong doesn't come into it.
But we don't have an 11 that we all go. I did this the other day, right? I asked everybody in the chat, give me your best 11 at Spurs right now. and no one picked the same 11. Like there was no one that picked the same 11.
I think the defence, give or take one player. You got your 3 fullbacks for 2, and you got Romero and Van der Ven, and you got Vicario in goal. And I think everybody agrees that you pick your 5 out of those 6 players. Then you got Paulinho in front, and you got Kudus on the right. And I think now, after last night, people are going to think, if this is a sign now of Moani, who's now getting match fit, if this is what he can do against PSG, then he should be able to do. You're looking forward to seeing him play against Fulham. With no disrespect to Fulham, but they're not PSG. And if this is the level of the player who is on loan from PSG, so PSG haven't bought him because he's a mug, Juventus didn't take him on because he's a mug. This is a good player. So you like to think that Moani will be the 7th player possibly, or 8th player that comes in, that you look at a team, your best team that you're picking each week, and there's 8 players, but it's not 11. So everybody's going to have that difference of opinion.
We've played 3 different formations in the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Like, so no one seems to know what the best 11 is, what the best formation is. I think this is going to be like this all season. I think there's going to be a lot of tweaking and changing and adapting. And
I've got patience with it. The only one thing I'd say on Saturday is if Simmons doesn't start, I wonder what is in his head. If he doesn't start at home to Fulham,
I think he'll start, Chris. I think a lot of.
If he doesn't, I think there are questions to be asked about what is going on.
But Chris, do you not think that he picked last night's team was partly influenced by Saturday's game, that he knows he's got to win?
Maybe I don't lose my mind when I see the lineups, but I did send a message to Savva. I'm like, it's fucking weird, the lineup yesterday. But you live and die by your decisions, and we conceded 5. But generally, we were much better. So, although I never would have picked that lineup in a million years yesterday, but you've got to give him some credit that we definitely saw some improvements.
Do you not think that, Chris, we had one manager that would never adapt, and we've gone to one that adapts that changes all the time. So, again, you've gone from one extreme to another in terms of flexibility. And I think the players are probably getting, if I was a player and I was playing a different system every single week, you think, Jesus, what is it now? It's
yeah, but you've got to try to find something that works, right? And again, this goes back to Lubo, if you don't buy the players for your jigsaw, like if you haven't got the pieces of the jigsaw, you're always going to be in limbo. I don't think we've got, as I said, I don't think we've got good midfielders. I think our wingers are, other than Kudus, are average. Is Xavi Simons going to be that guy? I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot for this manager to work out.
The rhetoric changes a lot, though, so I can understand you saying that, Lubo, but I think you only have to go back to 3 weeks ago, and people were saying he doesn't change enough because he's always playing Paulinho and Bentancur. He never veers from a back 4, even though he did for the first game. We've never seen it since. He doesn't change, and then he does. I do think a lot of it is, as they'd say in America, the Monday morning quarterback. Once we see the result of the game and how it's panned out, we go, well, he shouldn't have done that. Like,
sure.
All right.
It's all, but if you're a player and you're being asked to play different systems, you are being asked to adapt week in, week out, and you've got different players that are in the team every single week.
Oh, it doesn't help.
It doesn't. It can't help. It can't help, can it? So I think
a lot of that is down to we're playing for every 3 or 4 days. And if you don't have quality and you're playing every 3 or 4 days, if you don't have quality, you don't have consistency. I just think I want to go back to the days of knowing what our best 11 is. And I still think there's a lot to buy to make that best 11. And like if Newcastle line up, most people know what Newcastle's best 11 is, right? But that's taken, how long has it taken Eddie Howe to get there?
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's not like this happened overnight. So
you're going to Newcastle, Lubo, next week?
Yes.
I've got a ticket. I just don't know if I can summon up the energy to go up so far away on a Tuesday night.
Come and join us. 4 of us have booked the guys up there have booked a nice restaurant for bite to eat pre-match. So come and join us if you're up there.
I probably won't go, but if I change my mind, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Can I just say, good comment here. 239 from Matt Cox, just saying devil's advocate. Keeps players never know if their spots are safe.
Yes.
I genuinely think, yes, there is a lot to that. Porro, Udogie, Spence, none of them really know if they're going to be picked week on week. So, yes, in terms of them, you're quite right. The problem you've got when this happens is that you've got to have players that are competitive. You've got to have more than one player in a position that are competitive where the drop down isn't huge. And we don't have enough of that.
I wish the case was that we were tinkering because we've got too many good players. Yes. It doesn't know. I think we're tinkering because we don't have many good players, and it's trying to find the best of a bad scenario. And that's the problem. You look at the midfielders that keep getting rotated in and out. None of them are quality. Not one of them you go, he is quality. Not one of our centre mids, other than Paulinho as a DM, do you look at and go, he has to play every game. He is quality. Prove me wrong.
Think you've hit the nail on the head for me, because I don't kind of agree ultimately that we should be aiming for a best 11. Ultimately, we should be aiming for a squad that
sure.
So good. But that you've got to get to having 11 really good players first before you can build, and we're not even at that point. So I can concede to the point.
That's why I'm so surprised, Chris, by how many people are so going in on Frank when you think we're not even at the point where we have an 11, let alone a squad. Like Poch took ages to build that. You know, the famous 11, right? Well, we all know it. Lloris, Walker, Toby, Vertonghen, Rose, Wanyama, Dembele, Ericsson, Ali, Son, and Kane, right?
He got most of that. He got all of that bar Wanyama in his second season. Because he brought
okay. But 7 of them were already there, right?
Yes,
7 of them were already there, right?
The difference was, Sav, that when he brought Toby in, he had into the same back five, Lloris, Walker, Rose, and Jan. Toby came in and they went from conceding 60 plus goals to something like 35.
Oh, yeah.
Overnight. And funny, there were 4 of us on the train back from Paris this morning, and we were just talking about our favourite Spurs players, position by position through the years. And all of us...
How many mentions did Sol Campbell get?
Well, the interesting thing was that Toby got in front of Campbell because Toby's a footballer and Campbell's an athlete.
The difference for me and why there's never a conversation between Romero and Alderweireld is Alderweireld organises the back four as a unit and makes them all play better and together. And I don't think Romero, as great as he is on his day, I think he's an individual. One day is brilliant, the next day is not so great.
I stand by what I've said for years, Chris. This year, I've seen nothing different from the bloke. He has been shocking these last 3 games. This is a guy on his day, brilliant. How many days does he have?
We always used to say he turns up in the big games, right? Well, he hasn't for the last 2.
Well, I'll go with what I've always said. He has got all the ability in the world. My issue with him is not ability. My issue with him is for the last 4 years we've watched him, he's always been the same. Whatever manager we have, he has great games, he has shit games, great games, shit games. There is no consistency with him, Chris. It's not that he's a bad footballer. He's not consistent.
So, correct. But yesterday, I agree with that because I thought first half he was very good. And the second half, he dipped.
I thought he was shocking against United. I think he was shocking against Arsenal. Do you know what it is? He seems to... It's almost like when he's disciplined and he sticks to his job, he's excellent. But it's almost like he gets bored and he almost has to go and be a hero. Let me go clattering into people and let me go running. When he actually just concentrates on being a centre half, he's excellent. But someone said yesterday, when I watched the game this morning, I can't remember who it was saying how easily he kept letting his man get in behind him. He doesn't follow his runner. I thought, don't let Lubo hear you say that. Lubo loves the bloke.
No, listen. I'll pull up a player if he's not doing what he should be doing. What bothers me more about the last 2 games that have been very, very different. Last night, I thought, we're always going to lose, but they gave, they played for the badge and they gave 100%. And we didn't get anything out of that because of individual errors, stupid errors. But the one thing that Sunday was just a complete shit show from start to finish.
Yeah, sure.
The one thing you notice is that 5 out of the 9 goals have come dead central around the edge of the box, and it was like for the first goal, it was like they were sitting back rather than being a couple of yards further forward and picking up the men on the edge of the box. Eze had so much space on Sunday. Vitinha had so much space yesterday. Not only did they make the mistake once, they made it twice with him. And as good as a footballer as he is, you know, if you close him down, then he's not going to have room to shoot, and he's got to make a decision. What do I do with the ball now? And we've given away 5 goals centrally. And for me, if you're playing, you know, Sunday was appalling because you had 3 at the back and you had 2 in front. So you literally had 5 players in that block, and we gave away 3 of the 4 goals. It's dead central. That was a complete shambles, and that was dreadful.
I agree. I'll stand by what I've always said about him. This is why I don't put him on par with the top centre halves, because he is just, I never know what I'm going to get from him. I just need consistency. And when our fans talk about him being as good as Saliba and Gabriel, I'm just like,
no. Listen, not one of our current team gets in that 16-17 season team with Poch.
Oh, for sure.
Not one.
For sure. But not one of our team now gets in Arsenal's 11. Not one.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, that's mad. How have we gone that far in the last 4 years?
And the irony is that Poch team, it was pretty much the other way around, wasn't it? It's like, which Arsenal players are you going to take? And like,
oh mate, it's madness.
It's sad.
Anyway, look, let's leave it there, guys. Big up to Paul Langley putting in the super sticker. Big up, Paul. Hope you're well. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you as always, my man. Hope you are having a nice. Oh, it depends where you live, because it's absolutely disgusting where I am at the moment. It's grey, it's wet, it's minging.
Yeah. Grey is the name of the day.
George has been a member for 27 months. Big up, George. He's a big fan of the channel. Always look forward to the show. As for the watch-alongs, they're second to none. Fingers crossed, 24K just around the corner for you. Yeah, listen, I've stopped asking for likes and subs. I just feel like it's just yeah, it is what it is. Thank you very much, George. I appreciate it. And I will have a members-only show tomorrow afternoon, by the way. And big up to Josh, who said, Savva, thoughts on moving Romero on this summer and replacing with someone like Lacroix and freeing up more cash to also level up the centre-back cover too. Look, Josh, I've always been of the same opinion with Romero. If a massive offer came in, I don't think he's that good that I'm oh my God, we can't lose him. With Toby and Jan, I did not want to lose them ever at any point. I thought they were Rolls Royces, right? I just, with Romero, it's not like I'm not, oh my God, we must sell him. But if he moved on, I think you can get much more consistent centre-backs. I really do. So Lacroix, I don't know. I really like Lacroix. Would he play in a 4? I don't know. But Lacroix's a good player. Yeah.
You've got a monster coming back to the club next season. You don't need Lacroix.
Oh, Fuskovic.
Yep.
He's 18.
Doesn't matter.
It does. It really does matter. We're doing that thing again with the kids.
No. Brighton's Hoyson was 19. Real Madrid bought him. He was that good. Doesn't matter. You keep telling me if they're old enough.
Can I ask you a question? How many games have you seen him play this season?
The reports coming from Germany are absolutely.
Not why I asked. Not why I asked.
No, he has improved. He has improved in leaps and bounds since the pre-season friendlies with Spurs. The reports coming from Germany are sensational on Vuskovic. Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
He has won the Young Player of the Year. Sorry, the Young Player of the Month 2 years running in the Bundesliga top division. This is a kid of 18 who's just made his debut for Croatia's international first team.
Okay, so you're telling me, but again, you're a brilliant politician because you don't actually answer any questions. So basically, you're hyping up that we wouldn't need to replace Romero because of an 18-year-old that you get reports about, not that you've seen.
They are watching him. Spurs scouts are watching him every week.
Hang on, let me finish. But this is the problem. Do you not see the hypocrisy in what you say? Right? You go on about how Levy never wanted the best for the club and the owners have to buy quality. And then we're going to do it again. We're straight away, we're going, we don't need to buy a quality centre half. All of our eggs are going to go in the 18-year-old basket.
I didn't say all.
Well,
I didn't.
you said there's a monster coming back that
If
we
you're
don't
replacing
need
one-on-one, if you're replacing one for one, then for me, if Vuskovic is that good, and our scouts are watching him every week, and if the experts in Germany are building him up and saying what a fantastic kid this is, he's having monster game after monster game, then it's one thing. You said it's one thing doing it in Belgium and Croatia. It's another thing doing it in Germany.
I'm not doubting. By the way, though, this isn't me saying he won't be good.
And another thing doing it in the Premier League.
But my point is, Chris, is Lubo says earlier in the show, right? If you want to catch Liverpools and Cities and that, you've got to go and spend the money. You've got to get the quality players. And in the next breath, we're going, well, we're just chucking this 18-year-old kid because he's getting rave reviews.
It's one kid. We need a lot more. We need a lot more than another centre back. I'm talking about midfield and up front. You go and you spend the money on those players.
So, yeah,
if he's that good,
aren't we? We're doing it again.
Listen, if the scouts turn around and say, yeah, this kid is that good, he will come straight into our first team squads.
Well, how many players have we heard that about down the years?
Well,
presumably these are the same. Are these the same scouts though that we're constantly criticised because we're not bringing in enough quality? So, do we trust what they say?
I don't know.
I just listen. I've got nothing wrong with Vuskovic coming back in next season being part of the squad. But if someone says to me Romero is being sold, right, I will be livid if Spurs don't go and buy a top quality centre half to replace him. Because again, that will show that our fans, not just the club, our fans have no interest in winning. We have no interest in competing. We're just going to go, yeah, here's an 18-year-old. Go on, you be our main centre half for the year. And then what will happen, Chris, I can assure you what will happen is when he's not what people want him to be immediately because it takes time, they'll go, but he's young. And we'll be exactly where we are again now, Chris, talking about in 2 years' time, he'll be good. In 2 years. Look, I just want us to act like a big club and I want the fans to have the same aspirations. But we're talking about a player that none of us watch. That's my problem here. No one's watching the game.
Fair enough. The difference, Sav, though, is that you're not talking about a player out on loan, and we've got players on loan at Aberdeen, Notts County, Stoke, Wickham.
Sure.
We're not talking about players who are playing at that level. We're talking about a player who's playing in the Bundesliga. So it's levels above where the rest of the loan kids, Lancashire at Oxford. This.
Hang on. And I know why Chris is smiling because I think I know he knows what I'm going to say. I am the one that says that to you about these young kids. You're the one that tries to convince me every week that they should be in Tottenham's squad. Now you're using that as an argument as to why Vuskovic shouldn't. This is
you're now arguing your arguments. Now you're arguing because you're saying to me, hang on a sec, these are lower level. They're playing at lower level clubs, and then I say Vuskovic, who's playing at Hamburg, against Dortmund, against Frankfurt, against Bayern Munich and Leverkusen. And he's actually smashing the place out. And you're saying, oh, well, no, he's only 18.
No, but what am I saying?
19 when he comes back.
No, but Lubo, what am I actually saying? I'm saying if you listen to what I said, bring him back, be part of the squad, be one of 4 or 5 centre halves. But the point was, if Romero was sold, that's not the guy I'm going, don't need to. That is Spursy. That is the most Spursy thing ever.
Okay, do you then say that one of Dragerson and Danso should go? Because you're saying 4 centre-backs. Mickey stays. You've got Vuskovic, Dragerson, Danso. That's 4.
Takai's
5. There's 5. Do you then go and buy a 6th? Romero's gone. Vuskovic has come in. I'm just saying, if that happens,
I genuinely don't care. I don't care for any of these players. Sell most of them. If you turn around to me this window and said Danso or Dragusin have been sold, I'm like, okay.
And then you bring in an improved version, a better version. You upgrade on a Danso or Dragusin. Then I'm all for that.
But the point was about if Romero is sold, you have to replace Romero. We can't be selling first team players and our cap in and then going, don't worry, we're going to put in a kid to go in there.
Like if he's good enough, Sam. If he's good enough. If he's good enough. So...
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Look. Listen, it's not about him not coming back. It's not about him not getting game time next season. I just think that it's really risky to go balls deep on a player that you don't watch. Like, you can watch Hamburg each week. You know that. They are on TV. You can watch Hamburg play. But you haven't, and you're telling me,
I'm talking to people who watch European football regularly, and they're all telling me.
I saw him last week.
But this kid is absolutely
last week for Hamburg.
What did you think of him?
He's good. He's good. I don't watch him and go, he has to start in the first 11 at Tottenham, but he's good. He's doing his thing. But there's also zero pressure on him at Hamburg. There's zero pressure. He's an 18-year-old kid with zero pressure because nothing's expected of Hamburg. If he came into the Tottenham team, look how our fans are going to ridicule if it doesn't work.
They ridicule whoever it is that doesn't work. Our fan base are probably one of the most critical fan bases there are anywhere in the world, I would think.
Our fans talk, though, Lubo, in the main, not all our fans. I find that our fans in the main talk like we are Real Madrid or Man City or something. Well, when we go, we're not Brentford, we're Spurs. It's like, sure, but what does that actually mean? We've won one trophy in 17 years. We don't challenge for titles. We don't sign world-class players. What does this actually mean?
I know. Mind you, I've actually got to say that, the fan base, having read loads of comments on Twitter, on social media about how Gray played yesterday and how he should be playing Saturday, I've got to go with them, to be honest. So there you go. There you go.
I'm not against it. I'm not going to get carried away like you probably are.
He played well.
He did fine. He did.
I've said all along, you need to run a games. Let's see if he's good enough or not.
I think the problem, not so much with Gray, but with a lot of our players, is that we flip-flop loads as a fan base. Bergvall is a classic example. I thought Bergvall played really well last night. And now everyone will be going, Bergvall's the answer, he's brilliant, but then he'll drop a couple of stinkers and we'll be like, well, why are we playing Bergvall? And it's like, well, and I think a lot of our players fall into that category. And Bentancur's another one. Like, some people have been raving about Bentancur previously, and now at the moment it's fashionable to bash him and say he's terrible. But if he is picked on Saturday and plays well, you'll have the army of Bentancur fans saying, well, he's got to play every week. This is what happens with all of our players at the moment.
But Chris, as a young player's developing, you would expect him to have good games and not so good games.
Sure.
And that's part of his development. When the player's 26, 27, 28, you don't expect that, particularly at Tottenham Hotspur.
I think you do if they're kind of middling players, right? Which I think is what I've always said about Bentancur.
And that's the issue, isn't it? And
there's no one else really, is there? But Bentancur, I've always had the view. I've always used the same phrase, which is he's a flat track bully, and he plays well in games against the lower teams generally, and generally in the bigger games. I've never found him well before this season. Yeah. Well before even.
I was like that, Chris, before the injury. Do you know when he got the big injury?
Yeah, I agree.
Right. I was always saying, people are going, oh my God, Bentancur. And I said, have you noticed that every time we praise him, I think he's a middle of the road midfielder. He's a squad filler, always has been, right? We always praised him. It was like, oh my God, did you see him against Leeds? Oh my God, did you see him against Leicester? It was never, cool, look how he's dominated Chelsea or City. Or he's okay. He's okay.
I think the first half season, Sav, I think the first half season he was at the club, I think he was very good, regardless.
Yeah, but not against the big teams. Not against the big teams.
I thought him and Kulusevski, listen, you had Kane and Son, prime Kane and Son, but they can't do it on their own. I think Kulusevski and Bentancur made a massive difference to that Conte team and helped take us up from 9th to 4th. And the football we played and the goals we scored was superb.
I don't doubt that. But again, do you know what? This gets overlooked again and again and again. That Conte team finished 4th because Kane and Son would rattle in 40 to 50 goals between them a season, right? So you can have Bentancur in midfield. Right now, if you had a prime Kane and a prime Son up front for Tottenham right now, none of the conversations we're having, we would be having. because we would have scored 15 odd more goals between the two of them.
Sure.
And games where we lose, we draw, and games where we draw, we win. Right? Yeah, probably, right. And this is the big thing that I don't think people take into account. This is the first year in 12 or 11 where we haven't got either of them, right? This is the first year where we haven't got either of them. Didn't replace them with any form of real goal scoring, kind of anyone with that clinical nature.
Yeah.
And then we're going, oh, but Conte's team did this. Yeah, but Conte had Son and Kane. But Jose's Son and Kane. You know, Poch had Son and Kane. We're in a new era. We need to find Son. We need to find Kane. We need to find this for me. But Bentancur, for me, I again, Lubo, it's not that I think he's great. I look at all of our midfield options and go, meh. I think they're all meh. They're all poor on the ball. They all lose a lot of possession, but they all work very hard. That's why they all work very, very hard. Bergvall, Gray, Sarr, Bent, they all work hard.
Gray's decent on the ball, Sav. He's decent on the ball.
He's decent on the ball, but look at his stats in his last few games. He loses possession a lot, and a lot of his passes, don't complete. I'm not knocking him.
No. He needs to bulk up physically.
Agreed.
Definitely.
Agreed. He massively does.
He
massively does.
The way that Bergvall did. You see Bergvall's built like a brick house now.
What Gray is better than Bergvall at? This is the thing, right? You know, when I'll meet you halfway with Gray, right? I'll meet you in the middle with Gray.
We're getting there. That's good. We're getting there. Okay.
Well, no. What I will say is from the cameos I've seen and the game like last night, he's much better on the football than Bergvall. So Bergvall's got the physicality. Now, if you could put that physicality on Gray, right, I think you've got a different player. My question mark is when you're playing a game like yesterday where you don't have a lot of the ball, I think it's okay because Gray can nick in and he can be positionally astute. What I want to see is if he starts the game, and let's hope I never want a Spurs player to do badly, right? If he starts against Fulham, what I want to see is, right, we're probably going to have more of the ball. Well, we definitely have more than we had last night because it's PSG. When you've got the ball and you've got to dictate the flow and the pattern of the game, now I want to see what you do as a midfielder.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not when you get to sit in and soak up. I want to see when the onus is on you, what do you do? So for me, I'm happy to see Gray play, but let's see what he does.
We're playing Fulham, who are what, 6th from bottom, 5th from bottom, whatever they are. Listen, no game in the Premier League is easy these days. It's getting more and more competitive. Where are we? There we are, 15th, 6th from bottom.
Well, I'll tell you what this does, though, this game, by the way.
They're only 4 behind.
If we can get that win, it does start to put distance between this lot down here. Right? Yeah. If Fulham were to beat us,
they're a point behind.
Everything just goes closed up. But we could end this weekend, right? This is the mad thing about football and everyone losing their minds about Frank out. I mean, I don't think we will, but if all results went our way, we could end this weekend in 4th. Like it's absolutely crazy, isn't it? How things work. But look, guys, I do need to wrap up. I started wrapping up about half an hour ago, I think, and we're still here. Guys, for any of you out there, please, the Spurs 5 are on tonight. So get over to watch them. I believe that Sean's got a members call-in show, maybe at 6:30 or something like that as well.
And we got a good guest on tonight as well. So
who you got on?
Oh, listen, Sean puts up the thing. Have you seen the thing where he introduces the guest? Who's at the door? And he's got someone pressing the doorbell now.
Yeah. Who is it?
We got Ricky Sachs on tonight.
Oh, you got Ricky Sachs. Okay. Yeah, I like Ricky. Nice lad. Let me just see who I can send you over to. Who's live? No one in the Spurs community. I'll send you over to Don Hassam if you want to watch Don. Just say Savva Raid or FHTV Raid. Thanks, Lubo. Thanks, Chris. Take care. I'm going to go and eat and put my tux on. Much love. And as always, come on, you Spurs.